You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And you're not dreaming, we're actually back. After I don't know how long, we're back in Maximum Driftcast. What's up, guys?
Why? What do you mean we're back? Didn't you guys do a bunch of shows while I was out of town?
No, Sam. Do you even watch our show?
Yeah, I do. When I'm on it.
Actually, do you know what? That was a test, Sam. That was a test to see if you would notice.
Yeah, he
and
passed.
You didn't notice. That means you don't watch the show, dude.
No, I got my DMs blowed up by all the boys saying, "Where's our fix of the best drift news and no bullshit ever?" That's what they said. No bullshit. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Now that Sam doesn't watch the show, Paco, what do you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, let's just ask Sam about
I got an idea.
España.
I got an idea.
Oh.
Let's just shut this down, and we can join my friend Robbie. Started a Camboy website. My friend
Ooh.
Robbie.
I
So
heard
we can do Camboys.
he has an OnlyFans account, right?
And Robbie, you're on your OnlyFans. You go by Robert Burrito Blade, and is that like a reference to your burrito-shaped dong, or?
Well, more of a hot dog, but yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like a needle, but it moves like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
That's gross, Robbie. Don't laugh.
So
Grow
Sam
up.
doesn't watch the show. Sam doesn't watch the show. We didn't do a show.
Uh-huh.
We're jumping on the Camboy, the Hey Man Camboy train, and maybe we can make it big and we'll go drifting. I've seen Robbie drift a GTR before. He's drifted a Porsche before.
A Soarer.
A Soarer.
A Saguaro.
You can get a Soarer doing too many cam shows, but you got to be careful. So Robbie has the funds. He lives in Japan, for God's sakes, guys.
He's laughing at that.
Don't laugh, Robbie.
Don't laugh at that, Robbie. Be cool, Robbie. We told you to be chill for
Yeah.
the show, and you're already fucking wiling out, Robbie.
Dude, is this what it is? You're a party man now,
I think
or what?
no. I think he's being affected by the coronavirus. Robbie,
Oh, he's got the Rona. He's touching his throat a lot.
Rice Rona.
Yeah. Oh man, that's like a actually serious problem in Japan right now. They're like closing down schools and
Well, that's the right move.
everything.
Yeah, I heard there's no toilet
So-
paper.
Oh, the Olympics got shut down too.
So
Mhm.
so they don't want so we have events, and at the event they don't want any spectators because they don't want people to be crowded because they're scared that it's gonna spread and it's spreading. But I honestly think everybody probably has it already because they just can't check it, and that's
One, it has a 2-week incubation period, so we all have it. I just flew on a bunch of planes from Spain. I've got to go back in a couple of days. It's pretty dope. I'm definitely gonna die soon. So
Oof.
You got to go
Rip.
back to Spain in a couple days.
yeah, dude. I'm just trying to
So-
catch the Rona.
Sounds so excited.
FD starts next month.
Mhm.
And
You should know
all the
this, Robbie.
J-Stars
You
might
sounded
not even make it there.
yeah, you
because
sounded not sure.
There's like super there's a big rumor in Japan where it's like Trump is saying no flights from Asia maybe soon, and that might
Well, he also
affect-
doesn't know the difference between Japan and China, so he might shut down Japan too.
well kind of same
Yeah,
same,
same. So, Robert Burrito, it was a shocker to everyone when it was announced that you were the new FD judge. We all thought it was going to be Corey. And
I
you
was
took
pushing, dude.
his job. You pushed out Andy Yen very violently, I might add.
Wow.
You mentioned on the show how you assaulted him, called him names, pushed him. You hit him with his own hands and then said, "Why are you hitting yourself?" And then he said, "I'm not," through his tears. And so you bullied your way in. How does it feel?
I mean, it feels good. I mean,
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
bet.
deserved it, and I knew I had to take it. That's why I took it.
Hell yeah. So we're very excited about the news, though. I think a lot of people predicted it. Your role in the past few years as the liaison between angry drivers and the judges, I think, has been effective, and I think a lot of people are thirsty for a a pro driver in that seat again. So yeah, I think it's going to be a cool thing.
Well, I think I don't really think it's gonna make that big of a difference because I mean, it's a little. Well, I've never really noticed this until I started judging too, but it's a little different when you're there and you have to make a call at the spot under those circumstances, and also the pressure, everything, and the rules. I mean, I understand if everybody went to like the drivers' meetings and everything, understand every little rule, maybe they might think a little different too. But I mean, yeah, there's a couple calls that previously I thought, but I think that's just because everybody's being subjective. Everybody has an opinion, and it's probably going to be the same by the end of the year. You guys are going to be like that guy, and,
No, everyone's gonna hate you right away. I'm sure. Like we in our exit interview with Andy, I was like, oh, this guy seems actually like he's pretty well educated and made a lot of choices that he thought were right, and he wasn't an idiot. And you're gonna be hated for sure.
Yeah, that's somebody's got to do it, right?
I know, right? Somebody's got it. Well, Brian and Ryan, they get off on the pain. They're masochists, and all the angry live stream viewers are just really what makes them hornier. I think that's what they said.
Well, they also said new rule this year is if a judge does make a bad call, they have to perform seppuku right on the front straightaway.
Yeah.
In honor of the bad call.
So I'm dying Formula Drift Long Beach weekend then.
Yeah. What's the tiny katana policy for airline travel? Can you bring a little tiny security? One time I got in trouble with a machete for just that.
Just say you're a sushi chef.
Brian, that's racist.
What?
Why?
I mean, I've heard sushi chefs being travel with their swords and stuff.
They're called
that's
knives.
Cool. Wait, sushi chefs have to have swords? Is that a policy?
Well, I knew a guy who used to be a sushi chef, and he told me that there was.
And he used a katana.
Well, not a katana, but I mean like a bladed stuff that you make
bladed
sushi
weapon.
with bladed weapons. Yeah.
Chuchi.
I'm not a sushi chef, so I don't know what to call it. I just know that's
what's
what he
a
told
chuchi?
Tucci.
That's why Robert uses a burrito blade. So it's actually just an edible knife that actually is just a burrito.
Yeah, it's good for the environment.
Robbie? What do you foresee being different with you as a judge? You're going to shape things up around here finally?
Well, I have inputs. Well, first of all, it's kind of amazing how much time everybody puts into the program off season, because there's constant emails going back and forth, suggestions, even down to, I don't know if I explained this before, but even if when we're traveling, we're all in the same car, everybody's just constantly talking about the competition, constantly talking about the judging and this and that. So I think, or hopefully, this year we can probably talk a little bit more, because before when they used to, after the judge or after the event, they kind of leave it at that. But hopefully this year we can talk more about that in a formal way, maybe like a debriefing or something. And I don't know, it's never right or wrong, and nobody ever,
there's sometimes right and wrong.
So like a post-event download.
It is a judge sport based off of circumstantial things, as we always talk about. It's not first across the line or whatever. But
I think it's the difference between opinions too, but at the same time, it's never biased, because like I know a lot of people are probably gonna be. You guys will bring it up later too, but a lot of people will be concerned because I'm a Japanese driver and I know some of the Japanese drivers more than the other U.S. drivers or any other drivers, But to be honest, I don't really care who wins.
Yeah,
it's not going to affect me at all. So when people think like, oh, I'm not going to try to help a friend out by cheating their way in or giving them advantage.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a real friend. Your real friend actually looks at it. If you win, you deserve it.
Yeah.
Cheating or doing something like that to make it to the top doesn't mean anything.
Well, your best friend Daigo in there, real quick, Corey. Like if Daigo's in there, I would think that'd be the opposite. So like for me personally, like let's say Corey was driving and I was judging, I would judge very erratically. Like if he did a very clean, perfect run, I would punish him. terribly.
Oh.
And if he fucking goes into the bleachers and pops a wheel off, he's gonna get the win for sure.
Oh yeah, dude.
Just really confuse people.
Well, the other thing too that I was going to say, Sam, is I don't think Robbie's been in scenarios that we've seen before. Well, we've seen him before, but I don't think Robbie's really paid attention on being in a judging position. And I think it'd be a good time right now, Sam, to put Robbie in some of those positions and see how he would respond. And this is really just going through. This is just pre-testing and seeing if he's certified or not to be a judge. So let's say you have. I'll do the first one, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me think of a driver, right? So let's say we have Taylor Hall in his Cadillac, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're running. What track are we running? Let me think of a small one. We're running in Florida. Okay, we're in Florida. We're at OSW. All right, you're standing there and you're looking at the front straightaway, and you realize Taylor doesn't have his hat on. And as he passes the front straightaway, he takes his hat off and bows it to you and puts it back on. And then as he finishes, he gives you a little kiss and a wink.
Oh.
How would that affect your judging?
Mm-hmm. Good question, Corey.
I don't know. I probably won't be paying attention to him. So I probably wouldn't have even noticed that.
Oh, why wouldn't you pay attention to him?
Well,
Does he
'cause
need to do?
I'm looking at his car.
Yeah, you don't stare the drivers in the
don't
eyes as
pay
they do the
attention.
course.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
I thought
like
that
that.
part of the criteria is the driver management or driver body management. I didn't know was that a criteria or no.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think it's if we have in cams all the time,
Okay.
and we can watch everybody, that'll be fair. But like you said, if you can't see the cars or if you can't see everybody on the inside, depending on the car or how they sit or whatever, then it's kind of.
So a hat
Yeah.
tip with a cowboy hat and a kiss and a wink doesn't affect
Doesn't
judging for you.
yeah, but hear me out. So
Yeah.
let's say
Okay.
similar scenario, Florida, and we've got Daigo. He's back in the mix
Okay.
as we all know and excited, and he's busted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, Florida
depends.
lake sashimi. That sounds nice.
Yeah, because if it's just raw fish, I don't know. That's not going to really do anything for me. But
Yeah,
if
you
can't-
need it.
Sliced it and got the wasabi and the soy.
Does that do anything for you?
Wow, that's horrible.
Is he still as not English fluent as he actually pretends to be? I don't know.
I think his English is probably a little more rusty now because he hasn't been.
So we just actually had to delete 10 minutes of the show because the content was a little off color. let's
Graphic.
say. It was graphic. Corey, are you ready to dial us back in though? So what we began talking about there was so Robbie's been working as a professional translator lately, right, Robbie? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just getting some help with some phrases that we've been needing to learn in Japanese. Corey, do you have one for him?
Yeah, I do actually. And this
Or
is one that
need help translating from Japanese, I should say.
Yeah, because this is a common phrase that I heard is used over in Japan. I just want to make sure I have it correct before I go over there. But let me see if I can perfect this. All right, it's Kosoko no o shiri suri o unten suru. Kosoko no o shiri suri o unten o suru.
It has something to do with driving on the freeway with your ass.
Oh, close. I just put the translation in the chat. You might see it pop up.
What's that say, Robbie?
Yeah, I
Please
think
help
it's
us.
like a straight translation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
If you had to
it's
guess,
also, no, actually, it's at high speed. Oh,
Yeah.
you drive an ass at high speed.
No, close. So I tried saying driving fast and eating ass. But,
okay.
Yeah, the eating part wasn't in there yet.
oh God.
All right, Robbie. Obviously, you need some work on your translation skills. Maybe this one would be okay. Let me try this one out for you. Keisho shitsu wa doku desu ka?
Wow,
watashi-
that was actually pretty good, Sam.
Watashi wa hazubeki ayamachi o okashimashita.
Okay, it was something to do with you're looking for the restroom. You have made an oopsie or something that happened to you that's embarrassing, right?
It's
Something
believe
happened
it.
to you. That's why you have to go to the restroom, yeah?
You
pooped your pants.
It says, I have made a shameful mistake, was what I was
Yes.
looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, this one should be easy, Robbie. I mean, you're still not. It's 0 for 2, Robbie. How about this? Sashimi wa sono pinisu o misete kuramasu.
Hold on, why
You
are
wanna
you
see
laughing,
what?
Sam? Why are you laughing,
see-
Sam?
You want to see penis? You want to see a penis become sashimi?
No, it's what Corey said earlier.
And that was it. How was it? That was it. In
Sashimi,
Japanese?
sashimi, show me
Show me
your
the-
weenie.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, you have one more for him because he's 0 for 3 now.
Okay, yeah. Let me type it in real quick.
Yeah, and then just keep in mind the show was for you YouTube Live guys. It was down for 10 minutes because this did get a little too extreme for a lot of people. So we apologize. But yeah, this is the lightweight stuff. This was much heavier previously.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Oh, this is so hard. Kariso o Fozubagu Gashori.
Chris Forsberg gets a win.
Oh my God!
There we go. Well,
We're
all
just-
right.
We're just
That's
training
probably-
Robbie. We're just training Robbie
yeah.
to get used to saying
You
it.
got used to that.
I'm gonna be
Because-
saying that.
Yeah, because I mean,
You're
clearly
in the-
Chris has been the champion the last 3 years, I think. So yeah, he keeps on getting those
I'm
wins.
just
You
gonna
gotta
keep
learn
pushing-
it.
I won't be saying it.
Yeah, you just push the button because you guys aren't allowed to speak actually at the events, correct?
I don't know. Maybe this year we might be able to explain ourselves a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something new too. So don't know yet.
I heard from Andy on his exit interview that anytime you guys try to talk at all, Jim comes in your ear and goes, "Shut the fuck up, you little bitch!
Whoa.
Oh.
I don't pay you to speak." Is that true?
Things might change. So
Okay.
it's all-
Things are gonna change around here. Speaking of changes, what do you, in your opinion, is the biggest thing that needs to be revised in the judging world of Formula Drift?
Well, this is my opinion, but I think it's really, really technical. So I mean, I want it to be a tad bit, a little bit more closer to something that's more understandable for people who just sees things. So when they see something, they're just like, wow, and
Yeah.
more of a feeling, I guess. But that's really
Yeah.
hard. That's when it gets subjective because it's all about, I felt like you can watch a movie, you might like it, and I might think it's okay, So
Right.
that's the hard part.
What actions would you take to make that a reality?
Well, we're trying to figure out a way to reward drivers that can do something that's, I don't know, harder to do than just
Yeah.
drifting.
Like what we're talking about with the fishing pole scenario or the
Yeah,
tip of the hat scenario.
Yeah. So see, we talk about that tip of the hat. I think all the drivers can do that.
Mhm.
Fishing poling and fishing out of a pond or whatever, that's pretty high level. But
Mhm.
actually doing that and coming and slicing it up and feeding us is like top of the level stuff. So
The fun part about the tip of the hat too is they still have to wear their race helmets while they're driving, of course. So the cowboy hat they're going to be wearing is going to be very large in diameter to fit over the racing
True.
helmet. Corey, you're a businessman. Do you think that there is, and Paco, we're all businessmen here. Do you think that there's a market for cowboy hats that go on top of race helmets?
Only
Yeah,
if
no,
FIA
actually-
approved.
I was thinking, well, have you seen those trends or that Instagram page of pigeons wearing hats?
No,
Yeah.
but I'd like to.
Yeah, it's so basically tiny hats are in right now. So it doesn't have to be a full scale hat. It could be a little hat that you wear off to the side on your helmet. That's just an accent
Oh.
piece.
Yeah, so we could do big hats and or tiny hats.
Correct.
That also, that's a good move, I think, for a lot of the drivers looking to make, break into the scene with something special, a little something extra. Tiny hat pinned on the outside of your race helmet. I don't think that is probably allowed safety-wise. We're going to talk to Kevin Wells here soon. Can you put that in your notebook, guys, to ask Kevin about the tiny hats?
Well, speaking of notebooks, Ryan Lantain has the biggest notebook in
Oh, yeah.
judging history.
Yeah.
Robbie, do you plan on having any type of device to manage your thoughts and notes while you're up there judging, or are you more of an off-the-cuff kind of guy? You judge it, you see it, you make a call, or do you take notes?
I do take notes, but they're very simple.
Okay.
So I guess I'm in between, but yeah, I'm more of the see, speak, decide right away. So I think I'm kind of more similar to Andy too, because he usually makes his calls really fast. Because every time I see them up there, he's the one who kind of just puts in his judge or decision fastest, I think.
Mhm.
So
He just like, this just feels good. I don't care
Yeah.
if it's right or wrong. This is what I'm going with.
yes.
I wonder if that's why people didn't like him as much.
Hey, see, so I don't know, maybe that's like a feeling thing where he's
Yeah.
the judge that judges off of his feelings, his gut feelings.
Yeah.
But like once again, some people like it, some people don't. So
Right, and that's always to get real. Like that's always the balance. One of the major discussions we've had on the show over the years is, of course, like the where should the line be? Should it be more technical based? Should it be more emotion based? And like when the early years of my time in FD, it's like it was very technical based, and knocking over a cone was a 0, and there was 1,000 things to get a hard 0 for that just disqualified you from the run essentially. And it seems like they've gone away from that more. And I guess now with old emotional Robbie in here, we're going to get maybe a little bit more closer to the less technical, more feeling side of things.
yeah, but to be honest, I'm probably not any different from any other judges. And I bet you if any one of you guys got up there and started doing the same, it's probably not going to make that big of a difference.
Oh no, it would ruin a lot of things. As I said, how I would judge Corey. Like I would judge people based off their entire weekends and maybe even year. How are they doing this year? How have they dressed? How good are they at kickflips on a skateboard? Like these are the kind of things that I'm going to be caring about.
Mm.
Corey, what are your criterias?
Girth. How big is their stomach?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A big thing right now is dad bods. And that's something we've been developing for a very, very long time, Sam, as you know. But that's one of the biggest judging criteria that I go after.
Paco, what are your big criterias as a judge?
They're trying to ask for you right now.
Oh, Paco's under the desk
technical-
again.
Yeah.
Paco, get out from there, you little crazy
Just be,
boy.
just be a second here.
Brian, what are your criterias for a judge?
Has to be able to see, has to be able to hear.
Oh no, sorry. I
Okay.
mean for you to judge the drivers. Like, what are you looking for throughout the year? Like,
Not
if
race,
you're-
just
What am I
Yeah.
looking for?
Yeah, like what do you want to see in a competitor? How are you going to judge them over the weekend, but based on their actions for the entire year? Like, you want to see them do a nice dance at a wedding? Like, do you want to see them have a healthy diet or a bad diet? Like, what's important to you as a judge?
I like to just see them enjoying doing their own thing.
Brian.
that's a bad judging criteria, Brian.
That's a bad criteria, Brian.
That's some really bad criteria. That's what got us kicked out of Formula D last year.
Robbie we had to shut down the stream again. Really sorry about that. When we were talking about criteria for judging.
Well, that's the
and,
judging criteria is they're not allowed to use the restroom for the duration of the entire event.
That's good, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, but as we were discussing that, Robbie did in fact pull out his sashimi, and
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
we had to kill the stream again. So sorry, guys, but we're back one more time. This one's the good one, I think. And if this is anything like the beautiful year that Robbie's about to have, he's going to have a great year at FD.
Yes.
Yes, correct. That was a question it wasn't actually a question. Robbie, can you think of, let's just go to Irwindale so we don't have to go back too far. Are there any calls that you can think of? I know it's a year ago now it feels, but is there any calls that you can see that you would call differently than the judges called, or anything stand out to you that you can remember in that specific round that you would have judged differently?
Oh yeah. Well, I talked to the other judges about this already. Or I actually talked to them at the spot right after it ended too. But then I'm pretty sure this is the big one where everybody saw the Forrest Wang against the James Dean. I thought Forrest had it at the beginning.
Right.
And some of the judges, I think Lantain agreed, but then the other two said one more time. Brian and Andy said one more time, and then it
Right.
changed, and it ended up having James take the win. But sorry to James. I thought Forrest had it because even after the second run, James was a little bit too straight behind. And I understand proximity is important, but when you're that T-boning straight, it's, you know, I don't know. We're drifting, so we got to always have that in mind where we're not road racing or trying to, you know, get fastest, best times and stuff. So
Yeah.
got to keep the car sideways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most people we've discussed that specific battle with, a lot of them kind of have that consensus. It's like, the later ones maybe were won by James, but it shouldn't have gone into a later one potentially. But
Yeah, so that's the beauty of having outer zones. Well, I'm anti inner zones or inner clips because
Really?
usually that's where the collisions happen. That's where the pinching of line happens. That's where people try to run away. That's where the separation a lot of times happens. So
right.
the beauty about having the outside zone is the car in front could be as wide as they want, and the car behind doesn't have to be as gripped up, but they won't fall behind as much because they could cheat the line a little bit or cheat the angle a little bit just to make it look better, you know. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I like. And I haven't really thought about the differences in the zones in that regard. I definitely like a touch and go. Would you call the Irwindale transition in front of the bleachers a touch and go? I forget.
Well, it's an in clip.
Inner clip.
Yeah, that's just an air clip. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Corey.
Go ahead, Robbie. Drop it on.
Oh no, I think it's great to have it, but if you have more than one, like two or three or something like that, then that kind of gives the car in front a chance to run away because the car behind can't go any in if they're falling behind. You know, that doesn't give them a chance if the car's slower or if there's not enough grip or whatever. You know, and I think that's the beauty of drifting, where you gotta have a car ready that's gonna beat everybody and be the fastest out there and be able to do whatever you can do. But I mean, that's not how it is, and that's not how the world works. So I think having out zones and the way the rules are now, it kind of actually gives the car behind a chance to stay close, put on a good show.
Are the other any tracks that come to mind with too many inner zones like that exist in the current FD lineup?
Well, I don't think the US side has that problem, but like in FD Japan, a lot of the Japanese tracks in Japan, it's I think it's a problem because if you're going to dip a tire and it's going to look bad, and if you want to get closer, a lot of people try to go inside of the car and they end up being in the dirt, hitting the in clip.
Random questions on inner clips and outer zones. You spent a lot of time obviously drifting in Japan. You've seen a lot of D1 and things like that. Is it true outer clips don't really exist out there and they're primarily inner clips?
They don't, and I think that's the problem that a lot of the Japanese drivers has, is that they're so focused on gripping their car up and going fast and throwing it into the corner, but when you tell them you have to run an outside line like a wall ride, a lot of people won't be able to do it because number one, their car's not set up like that and they're not used to it. And so there's like different opinions. And once again, where some people think that's not cool drifting, some people wall rides are cool drifting, but there's no walls in Japanese tracks, mostly no walls, so it's really even hard, to even that happen.
Do they ever think about putting up a K-rail? Because like that's honestly like one of my favorite things, and I think a lot of people's favorite things in drifting is seeing people drag ass against the wall.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a couple years ago there was an accident in Japan where somebody actually had passed away because they were not a spectator; it was more of a spotter, and something fell off the car. They got hit.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So after that, everybody's been really, really tight about the safety of the track. So they do really hate getting close to anything. I guess they don't want to get too close to anything. So I'm not saying that's the reason or whole reason behind it, but the safety obviously is number one in the U.S. as well. But I think that's why they don't want to put obstacles so the cars will get any close to it.
Yeah, safety is number one in U.S. That's why we're starting up with Long Beach. No walls whatsoever there. It's all good. You can see the exit of that first high-speed initiation. That's the nice part about that, is that you don't just go in blindly. Also not true. You can't see the exit when you initiate, but fuck it.
Well, I think it's because the facility is made for it. Because a lot of the Japanese ones aren't made for spectators to be right there. So they don't have K-rails. They don't have those big fences that, avoids anything flying out into it,
For sure. Do you still drift at all?
Yeah.
What you haven't seen his very successful YouTube channel, Sam?
I don't watch internet videos, Paco. I don't got time for that
Apparently.
garbage.
Yeah, you have to make
Saigo drifting.
Full on AEA6 drifting. In the
make
last
the
one.
videos.
Shit, yeah. You mentioned it not a minute ago, earlier in the show. Yeah, let's touch on that a little bit. Your YouTube channel stuff. So what inspired that, and how's that going for you?
So I got a GoPro for Christmas from my wife, and I went and shot some stuff, and it came out nice, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then my brother was like, hey, I can edit, I'll learn, and that's how it kind of started.
Yeah, and and you just figured that you're around a bunch of cool shit all the time in the drift scene in Japan, and people need to see it.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know, like, I know there's a lot of different channels from Japan, and a lot of them are like the foreigner's point of view. So to be honest, like when I go to like a convenience store, when I see things, nothing's really amazing because I've been here for 40 something years.
Right.
And you know, it's just like when a Japanese guy goes to the US and sees the big hamburger and they're like, oh, big hamburger, you know?
Is that how
And-
they say it?
Big hamburger.
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 Or big hot dog. Like
Hot
I
dog.
remember
Yeah,
going to
hot dog.
7-Eleven. Daigo's favorite food in the States is 7-Eleven hot dog. And a lot of
Fuck
people in the
off, that's
States-
so good. That's Corey's favorite food, and he lives
Hey.
here.
I would eat that.
Oh.
I would eat that all day long, dude. Don't tell me
Yeah,
to take
see?
the time.
How does he
So,
feel when he goes to like Buc-ee's in Texas, like the most super of the gas stations ever made? It's like the gas station is the size of a regular size Walmart. They've got hot dogs, they got taquitos, they got chicken wings, they've got jalapeno poppers. What does that do to you guys? I guess you're more desensitized to it, but
Well, I mean, for Japanese, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're always amazed because they go to the States and there's like trucks everywhere. You know, the semis, when you go to the FD events, there's semis, everybody's pits are huge. You know, I mean, there's,
people are huge like Corey and like everyone else.
well, I mean, there's big people, small people, there's big stores, big parking lots. What amazes us is why is LA that crowded and why does it have that much traffic and there's like 5 lanes or 10 lanes or something, you know?
And how come these penises are uncensored in this pornography?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We do have that
Yep.
out here.
Pretty gross stuff, huh? Huh, Rob?
Our fake.
I don't think he
Did
heard
you
it.
grow up? You didn't hear the uncensored penis joke?
The what?
Okay, yeah. See, the word's censored in Japan too. That's what I said. Ha
Oh,
ha 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 ha. Robbie, were you born in Japan?
I was born in Japan, yes.
Well, I'm sorry if I asked this of you years ago, but what town? What prefecture?
Oh, I was born in Okinawa. It's the islands down south, so it's like Hawaii of Japan. But I grew up raised on a military base. My dad was in the Air Force. He retired, then I just stayed.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So that's why I went to school on base. So it's an American school. So all my friends were, you know, all Americans until when I was like 16 or 17. I started, you know, getting into motorcycles and making friends outside of the base with Japanese people.
You ride you crank your hog out there still?
I
You riding a motorcycle these days?
No, I don't. That's another hobby, and I can't afford it.
That's like the cheapest of them. Or you can't afford it emotionally because your wife would yell at you?
No, I think it's just because it's like car. And if I do motorcycle, then it's like, oh, I want to go ride it or I want to start hooking it up. And then it's just
Yeah.
like, you know, shit everywhere.
Can't
you know?
afford
thing
getting
is, once
injured
you get a
either.
hog, once you get a hog, Robbie, you could start listening to Kid Rock. You can get dreadlocks. You'd get your American citizenship really fast that way.
Yeah,
if
the
you
whole
wanna
world.
yeah,
Sleeveless denim jacket.
yeah, tattoos, really bad tattoos. I
Yeah.
say it's a good fix.
I rode around on scooters quite a bit in Spain, and that has kind of given me the hunger. Like I want to crank my hog everywhere now. So like I really, I could get a scooter here, or like maybe one of those one wheel things that people ride around on. You know what I'm talking about? They're really dorky things with the platform.
The one wheels
the
are pretty
wheel.
cool, actually.
You would think that's cool, you fucking nerd. God damn it, Paco.
I mean,
Hey, go get one of those old school mopeds.
That's a good idea too. Well, both my mom and my girlfriend said I'm not allowed to have a motorcycle or a scooter or I guess anything.
Oh.
I didn't know you were
Yeah.
13 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, I would die, so they do have that point.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna die of the Rona here in 2 weeks, anyways. So I mean, fuck it.
if it makes you feel
Yeah.
better, I just sold my motorcycle too,
Why would that make me feel better?
because now I won't get hurt either.
Oh, I wasn't concerned.
Oh,
I'm more.
thank you.
What's that, Corey?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm more worried of like Paco falling out of the bed or slipping in the shower.
Yeah.
Oof. That's why I
eating
don't
too many
shower.
Marbles. Yeah, we know. Like, I'm more worried that he's gonna put too many rocks in his mouth because he wanted to see how many rocks he could fit into his mouth, and then he swallows a rock, and then they can't get it out. No, he's laughing nervously because he's sticking rocks into his mouth the whole episode. Oh, no. Robbie, what's currently in your car stable? What do you own? Oh, hold on, I see a wild hog right behind you.
Yeah, show us around.
That's not
hold on.
mine.
Is that a motorcycle bike?
Yeah,
What, you fucking lie?
that's not mine though.
Where are you right now?
I'm at my shop.
Okay, so
Show
it's
us- show us
nobody's
around
bike.
real quick.
Sounds like that's nobody's bike, guys.
Well, I mean, the dude. I mean, I don't know what he's gonna do because I've been telling him because I'm moving shop soon and he hasn't. I've been telling him to come pick it up, and it's been here for years. So I mean, I might just give it away or something.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I
Hey.
actually am looking for a stallion to crank when I'm over there soon.
It's like a 600 though.
I can handle that.
Yeah.
Are you tall? Are you tall enough to
I think my
ride, Sam?
scooter- I think my scooter was a 75. Is that good?
Well, I got a 50 scooter too over there.
Oh, cool. The one I rode also was one of those fucking Goofus scooters with 2 front wheels. That was silly as hell. I'm sure we all looked pretty cool, but it was a weird experience.
Front wheels.
Yeah, 2 front wheels. They're like, have you ever seen them?
Oh yeah, I know. What you're
It's
talking about.
real dorky looking. So that way, like when you really lean into corners, like one wheel goes forward, the other goes backwards. One of the members of our team may have jumped one over a speed bump, got about 4 feet of air. And I also got a helmet ticket from the police because I
Good.
moved it like 100 feet down an alley without wearing my helmet, and the 6 cops busted out and gave me a ticket. That was cool. It was definitely
Where
a
was
scam. In Spain, it was definitely a scam because they demanded cash on the spot or they're gonna arrest me.
Oh, wow.
So that was fun. Thanks, Paco. Thank your people for that. Yeah, but do you want to show us around your shop before I get too hog envious of that hog behind you? What's back there?
No, just crap.
Real estate is cheap there, so you can just fill up garages with crap.
Oh no, it's kind of expensive. So I got a 83 Skyline.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Oof.
That's just sitting there, and then behind there is another one of my friends' competition car, but that's been there for years.
See,
Looks
Corey,
like a NASCAR.
this is what I want your garage to be.
It
full of
already
my
is
stuff.
almost that.
No, there's empty spaces everywhere, and you won't let me have my car there. I want to keep my car there for years.
We got to ship it to Robbie.
A 32 GTR.
Just
Arthur
Just,
GG.
is that a current car, or has that been there for years as well?
This is kind of maybe 6 months.
Okay. What's going on with that car?
This is a customer car for. I share a spot at my shop, and then this is his customer car. I think these drive in D1.
That's an
So-
S15 there for the audio only. He's got a silver i32 Skyline, nice S15 racing car by the looks of her.
JZX 100. And
Let's see.
outside. Oh man, it's bright. And I just picked this up. Is it even here? It's a Laurel C35 Laurel.
Nice.
I'll probably go and drift that. and this is just I was gonna use this as a snow mountain car,
Chaser.
JZX 100. Well, this is a GX 100, so it's got the gay, whatever motor in it.
The what?
Has a
one-
shit motor in it.
Huh? And then
Oh,
this
is that-
over here is
Sora.
this been sitting there for years, and then the guy just pays me monthly to just sit. I don't know why.
Nice.
That's what I do.
I think that's why. And then I have my Corolla that's never gonna get done either.
Well, your garage sounds very similar to Paco's garage at home.
Yeah, and not clean and
With
it's
cool cars.
messy. Yeah.
I mean, it's similar to Paco's in that there's a bunch of clapped out cars. Only yours happen to be badass cars, and Paco's happen to be rare Lincolns.
Weirds.
And awful
Oh, no, but
things.
that's think about it. That's more rare over here. I mean, these
Yeah.
are more normal.
Yeah, what's that? So like we've got like importers here that are just marking up Skylines and Silvias and everything else like crazy. Do you have importers there that are like marking up Chrysler LeBarons for insane prices?
I don't know about Chrysler LeBarons, but I
That's
know
a classic.
I know American cars are well, not a lot of people want them here, but the American cars when they're up for sale, they are kind of expensive.
Yeah, I forget if we've asked this of other Japanese guests we've had on the show. Can you just like go into a Ford dealer and buy a Mustang or a Chevy and buy a Corvette?
No.
No.
Well, they
No.
do have Mustangs now, right?
They do, but I think there's an importer, so it's actually not a dealer. I think all the Ford dealerships are all gone.
Oh, really?
I think all the Chrysler ones are gone too, or something. I'm not sure.
Dodge,
But-
Yeah.
Dodge, Chevy, Ford. Those would be
I mean,
the big
yeah.
three.
We've been making inferior cars for a very long time. Although I think the more modern American cars are better, not better, but are up to par pretty well.
Oh, no,
Other
I
than
think they're cars. It's just that there's so many. So when you see Japanese cars in the U.S., that's only probably like 60% of them,
Yeah.
right, oh, we
or
know.
50%. So
Yeah,
there's
we're
a lot
thirsty.
more over here.
We're
where-
thirsty for the rest.
The variety is so huge here that I guess there's just no space to get other foreign cars in. I guess.
Yeah. Well,
What's up with
What's-
Mitsubishi? Oh, sorry, Paco. I was going to do
No.
a tangent there, but go on.
yeah, I was saying like it's just funny because like at some point the Chevy Cavalier was sold in Japan as a Toyota
Fuck yeah.
Cavalier. Why?
good car.
I have no idea.
Well, I think they try to do like a, I mean, the companies probably try to do like a trade-off thing where Chevy wanted to start selling it's just like the new not BM, the new Supra and the
Whoa.
BMW.
Oh, come on, Robbie.
Robbie, too soon.
Oh.
Slip.
Too soon? What?
You just called the new Supra BMW already, Sam. Come
Well,
on.
it's no. I did, but it's no secret. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a BMW developed and Toyota.
I think it's kind of like that, yeah.
But I mean, the Cavalier is one of the worst cars ever made, and I feel like Toyota's lineup was much better than that during those generations. I haven't seen a Cavalier on the road in a very long
time.
which says something about that car because it was made up until fairly recently
Yeah.
before the Cobalt turned into the Cobalt. But
But then the other way around, we had a Toyota Corolla sold as a
Chevy Nova.
Chevy. Well,
I think,
yeah,
it was,
Oh, yeah,
I think it was
some
Nova.
Prism
Yeah,
or something like
Oh,
that.
That's right.
Yeah,
like the 80s, like mid 80s.
Like mid 90s. I mean, like there's been a lot of
Yeah.
crossovers, but I don't know. Like we just don't get the cool stuff, Like Japan gets the turbo engines, we get a K8 truck engine on our 240s.
hey,
we get the
KA is a
7M
great
GTE.
engine, dude. Maybe.
It's a truck engine though.
What?
Well, I mean, there's-
So
Think about it, there's a lot of cars that are in the States that are cool, and all the older American cars are cool. You just never see them over here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
What's
like-
up with? I was gonna say, what's up with like Mitsubishi over there? Are they alive and well? Because they seem to be like all but disappeared over here. Like I don't see new Mitsubishis on the road.
Yeah. Didn't Nissan I don't know if Nissan bought them out or did something with Mitsubishi?
That would
or they're
explain
help-
it because Nissan's a fucking disaster right now. So that makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean, I shouldn't say
Yeah,
that, I
there's-
guess, because I'm sure that they're very hungry to
Ex
sponsor our
CEOs
show.
fleeing the country in sound boxes and
Yeah.
Nissan has its game pretty planned out right now.
Well, the fact that the Z is still there. The Z and the R35 are their main flagship cars, and they're both over 10 years old, I think, right? And then like everything else just feels years behind new Toyota or new Honda. Also, what the fuck's up with Honda? Their styling is awful. Guys, I got a lot of bones to pick here.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam, please.
I'm getting nasty,
Yeah.
guys. I'm so sorry. Hold me back.
Things are not going, in my opinion, like things are not going very good in like, I mean, Lexus cars, like they look hideous right now.
Yeah,
They're all over the
pinched
place.
grill. Yeah.
It looks like a Predator mouth.
Yeah. It's like a sucking on a sour apple.
Yeah. Like the Infinities.
Robbie, what's the deal?
Yeah, Robbie, fix it.
He doesn't
I
know.
mean, if I was able to design all the cars are gonna look like they're from the 80s and the 90s.
Perfect.
Please, you're
That's
hired.
what we need, bud.
Hired.
Yo, GTR right now on Nissan website starting $115,000. When that car came out,
R35.
yeah, when that car came out, wasn't it like 80?
75.
Bring back pop-ups.
How is that possible? Like it's
Yeah.
almost the same thing, and
Yeah.
it doubles in price. Like how is that possible?
I'm gonna buy this 10-year-old. Granted, like they have updated parts, and I'm sure that this 10 years later GTR is better in every way. But it's like, man, this car is 10 years old, and it's not really that much better, and the price has gone up, and the styling, I don't know, styling has changed so much. That we on 3/4 R34 day at my work race service, we hold these coffee morning things. We had a bunch of R34s in there. Man, if you guys didn't know it, that's a cool car. But it was fun. It was fun to see like this like coveted car that every tuner enthusiast wants, like sitting in one. It's like, yeah, this interior is definitely 90s Japan, but it's at least like fairly quality-ish plastics versus like American cars from the late 90s are mostly just ratted out at this point. So like they've held up a little bit, but
Yeah, I think maybe the cars in the 90s in the States are probably the worst.
it was a very rough time for
Yeah.
US cars. What
What
is
was
there
that
anything?
car? It's like a Pontiac something.
Pontiac Sunfire.
You mean the Pontiac Aztec?
Crazy.
Pontiac Aztec is Paco's dream
What about
car.
the PT Cruiser, the PT Bruiser?
That was not, that was
the-
2000s.
The greatest part is PT Cruisers were not
Dodge,
built well, but there's still a
Nitro.
lot of them on the road because PT Cruiser owners are the worst people imaginable, or the best people, that they like still dump a bunch of money into their broken, shitty PT Cruiser. That was a terrible car when it debuted. Remember when it came out and everyone was so excited? Like the world was in an uproar about this cool ass PT Cruiser. I remember my high school English teacher got one. She was fucking pumped.
To
She
be
was like
fair,
on a wait list for like 6 months. There's a 6-month wait list for PT Cruisers when they came out.
to be
Dude,
fair,
when I worked at Bonnaroo, they had a fleet of the PT Cruiser turbos come out, and they were still in their
Yeah, oh, shit.
prototype.
yeah.
Yeah, and they came out to Bonnaroo, and they were doing a prototype testing of the new turbo model. And I watched one of the GM engineers actually crash one.
Oh, hell
very,
yeah.
very hard because during testing they had the brake line too close to the turbo manifold, which
Sure.
ended up boiling up the brakes. The dude sent a $300,000 PT Cruiser into a tire wall and totaled it, which was
Common
Nice.
mistake. Wait,
And-
why is it 300,000? Just because it was a
because
development
it's prototype.
vehicle?
Yeah, prototype. And R&D, testing, tuning, only
Those
12
came
of
with
them.
turbos?
Yeah. There's a Turbo PT 2.4-liter, I think.
It shares
5-speed.
with the Neon SRT. I think.
Yeah, it's the same as an SRT4 Neon,
That's the best.
which
That's
also you
hilarious.
don't see on the road anymore.
Yeah, those cars we've talked about on the show before.
Yep.
I spent all my money as an 18-year-old on an 02 WRX. Then the SRT4 came out, and all of them were fucking smoking me because everyone would just clamp their wastegate line, and that car would just smoke
Rip.
anything else.
Rocket.
Yeah, it
What
was so
about-
upsetting.
Another car that was very underrated that I wish I had right now was a Plymouth Prowler.
I
Ah.
love that car.
That the 3-liter
dude.
V6 in it though. If they had like, I seen
Robbie,
somebody
do
swap
you
a
know-
2J in one of those.
Robbie, you know about the Plymouth Prowler?
What's a Prowler?
Oh, she's a hot rod. She's a factory hot rod, baby. So a bunch of people at Plymouth, which used to be a car company, decided that they were going to take all the spare parts from like Chevy Cavaliers and other shitty cars, and then put them into a nostalgia roadster, and like I
a good
guess
car, though?
Americans kind of considered it a supercar at the time for some fucking reason.
It was a Plymouth. Yeah.
It was rough.
It's a cool looking
I-
car, but just it didn't have
Is
a
it,
very good
Paco?
engine. Yep.
But
Yeah,
you
it's just
saying
the
a
engine
good-looking
that was the
car is
problem.
like
I mean,
I wouldn't even have to translate that.
for the time when that car came out, it was very innovative. It was one of the first retro prototype cars. Like that was that and the PT Cruiser are the cars that started the retro tendency. And I mean,
trend for
the trend for retro styling on brand new cars. And it was a very cool looking car. The only bad thing is that it had a kind of wimpy V6.
Just a Chrysler 300M of that year. The
Same
3-liter
engine.
V6 is the same engine.
And
It
it's a
wasn't good.
trash
Yeah,
engine.
it's crap.
It's called, looking it up on Wikipedia, it's called the Egg. That's the engine code, the Egg V6. 3.5 liter Egg V6.
Yeah.
Oh, successor was the Chrysler Crossfire. That's a good car.
Well, the Crossfire is just a rebatch Mercedes.
Yeah.
Paco, I can see you
hold on.
ripping one of those.
This is right around 1997 to 2002. So Nissan's putting out S15s. We're getting Nissan Sky. The cool cars are still being pumped out of Japan, and we come up with PT Cruisers, Prowlers, and Crossfires.
That's what America wants. It
That is our
clearly
answer.
clearly worked though, considering the fact that Nissan didn't see fit to bring us another S chassis. But people were hot in the ass to get themselves a brand new PT Cruiser.
Paco, what
Now, I
were
wonder
the
why
Aztecs?
they didn't sell S15s. I mean, what the hell happened? Like they
I
made
don't know.
Nissan
40, then S15.
Nissan
and-
has a very weird very weird way of thinking what American people like. So they're like, oh no, they don't like the S14, so they're not gonna like the S15. Let's just don't even bring it. And
Here's some facts for you guys real quick. The Plymouth Prowler did 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds.
Ooh,
And the
hot dog.
S15 though, at a much cheaper price tag, was doing 0 to 60s in 5.4.
With
Yeah,
an
it's a
SR.
turbo.
With an
Yeah,
SR.
then I guess I never. Did they do a CA engine in the later S15s? Or no, they were done with that by
CA, CA18s.
Just SR.
Yeah.
Just SRs.
Robbie, would you consider if I bought an S15 right now, would you let it rot in your garage for a few years before I could bring it over? You have any space in there?
If I have somewhere to put it.
All right, cool.
He's
Let's do
moving
it.
shops.
No,
Hey-
I was looking up, and I can buy fucking top end S15 Aero R, whatever the fuck you call them, the body kit and the nice parts for like 20 grand US dollars.
That's a
And
lot of money.
Then all I have to do is let them sit around for like 4 years or whatever, and then I can bring it
like
over.
3 years.
Yeah. So it'll be like a $40,000 car by the time I'm done, and it'll be late 90s and broken and bad.
Cancel.
Well, if I knew all this was gonna happen, I would have bought out all the GTRs and whatnot.
Seriously.
5 years ago, my friend was trying to sell the R34 GTR, a real GTR, and he barely got 20 grand for it.
Holy shit. Yeah, I was just talking to one of the dudes from Top Rank, one of the bigger importers out here, and he's saying that they're kind of predicting like every R34 when they become legal to be well over 100K.
Yeah, no, I believe it. There was a guy that bought somebody in the Middle East somewhere bought a near spec Millennium Jade R34 GTR
The rare
for
boys.
like 180 or something.
Yeah.
180
Well, I mean,
or
from
something.
factory, those were pretty expensive though too, because at that point Nissan knew they were onto something, and that was like one of the last ones, right?
Yeah.
What is there anything in the current JDM market that really excites you? Or
No.
coming out? No. No. Hooray! Our industry is dead.
I like that Lexus. They sell Lexus in Japan as Lexus now, right? It's like its own brand again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know that big, the big coupe?
The
What's it-
L500.
G,
No, the LC.
LC.
Yeah.
That car's hot.
That's the Supra in my
nice,
mind.
but-
That should have been the Supra. I agree. To me that is the Supra. It's just a Lexus Supra. It even looks like the body of a Supra. That's probably the only car that I think is very, very hot. There's an Infinity, like a similar coupe that looks very nice, but I think the LC 500 takes the cake.
Hey, I have a question for
Uh-oh.
everybody.
Oh,
Here we fucking go.
Oh, here we go.
Why I know S15s are cool and I know JZXs are
the
cool,
coolest.
but I'm tired of seeing them. Like they're
That's
like
rude.
especially here, they're everywhere,
Must be
right?
nice, man.
So why don't everybody like build different cars? Because there's so
Like
many
what?
different cars out there.
Like
And
a-
everybody's gonna pull out the motor and the drivetrain and put a quick change in it and a G-force in it or a Samsonas in it and a 2J or a V8 in it anyways, right?
You are speaking Paco's language right now, buddy.
So why I know there's a lot of guys in Japan where they're developing or they're gonna build a new S15 for the season or something, but they're going from an S15 to an S15, and
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like,
Probably
they want the
because-
best car, Robbie.
Yeah,
That's
they're
why.
and they're cheap over there and they're proven. I mean,
Forsberg-
can't
yeah,
go
Forsberg
wrong.
straight up said like the S15 is the best drift car, and he would be driving one if it made sense for the bigger picture, but it doesn't. So it's like James Dean and Peter have obviously shown that everyone that's had an S15 and FD has, or in recent years at least, has been very competitive.
Well,
oh, no, I understand that,
I'm
but
a
like you said, Chris even said about the big
Yeah.
picture, right?
Having a modern car, exactly.
Japan is stuck right now because a lot of the people probably don't see the big picture,
Right.
and that's why the Japanese drifting scene is kind of not taking off like the U.S., and that's why we don't have manufacturers backing up drivers. We don't have
Interesting. Yeah.
there, and everybody wants to stick with the like I was showing the mechanic guy that's here at the shop. I was showing Steph's video where we have teams in the US where they can scan the inside of their car. It was on his latest Supra video. They can scan the inside of the car and get the roll cage made with nobody cutting it up and bring it to the shop and put it together like a model car, you know?
Yeah.
And that technology is available in the US, but we're still here with bolt-on cages and people just getting by on building their own cages. And then there's that big difference in technology and
That's super
And
rare
I-
though. That's not common. I mean, I think that there's
I know.
we
But
take
is it-
fabrication very artfully in
Well-
the high end here, so it's like I
well,
know
it
tons
is-
of people that
my
would shun
cage-
that.
So the cage going into my car right now in the new chassis, what is a 3D scan cage cut and designed by chair slayer Rob Parsons.
Oh,
So
sick.
now, yeah,
I
so
was about to
now,
call you a coward for getting a 3D designed cage, but I guess Rob is a badass. So.
dude, I'll tell you this though. So let me tell you where this really comes into there. I can go on a whole rant on this. Where this really starts coming into play. So you look at like production, right? If you were to get a cage put into your car, Sam, and you said, "All right, cage fabricator, build me a cage," it's going to take them 2 weeks, maybe.
And they're
2
gonna break your
weeks.
windshield every time.
And they're gonna do, and it may not be perfect, and maybe not perfectly symmetrical.
Well, it'll
it
definitely
may-
have a hole in the floorboard. The pillar next to your head is gonna come really close to your helmet, so your helmet's gonna touch it all the time.
Yep. So with a 3D cage, so I gave Rob, he 3D scanned the same seat that I have, put it in the position that it is in the car,
The big boy, extra large.
the Big Daddy seat, scan the car. So we already predetermined seat position and cage position to give me the most clearance with the top of my head to the top of the main hoop and the pillars across the top.
Did you
Which bef-
factor in weight gain that you're gonna have
did.
like in the next few months?
Yeah, so he already added another 12 pounds. 'Cause I'm
Mhm.
about another,
That's what your goals
yeah.
are.
That's my goals. That's what I'm shooting for. But it's like that technology is very easy to get here in the United States. Is that? And so now what Rob's doing is producing these cages, and so now he sells them to fabricators already pre-bent and cut, which they could be bent and cut in less than 2 hours, right? So you
Yeah.
can produce a cage, and then the fabricator doesn't have to do any of the hard work, which takes a week. So now producing and welding in a good cage takes no time here in the United States.
That
It's
should be the
very
standard
easy.
now.
But it's an
just-
art. You're ruining the art, Corey and Rob.
not
Just
an art.
kidding. No, I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Uh,
so I tell the Japanese drivers, right? Like, let's say, okay, this is an example I came up with a while back, like languages and the things we could say, you know.
Sashimi, show me your weenie.
Long time ago, I would pop on Japanese television, like maybe when I was early teens or maybe when I was in elementary school. I'll watch TV late at night, and then you see boobs and
Yeah.
sex scenes and stuff like that. That was on normal TV, right? But now they don't have that anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Robbie, I feel like
So-
this is a good tangent. I don't know where you're going with it, but I love it.
So if you think about it, that's where the world is going to. So
No
this
boobs
is-
on TV?
Ouch, that sucks.
No
Yeah, I
boobs
mean,
on
it's-
TV?
Yeah, there is none, and then
Oh,
I mean
fuck
you have
Japan.
to watch tape or something, right? So that's the way everybody's going, and it's sad to say that everybody goes that way, and everybody has to. So like, let's say we're talking
Do
about
they? I
manufacturing.
feel like we're supposed to go more liberal over the years. We're supposed to show more boobies and say more bad words.
Yeah,
Japan is a very conservative
I don't
country,
know,
Sam.
I guess. But then I guess in
Yeah.
in the general public, that's what happens. So
Yeah.
going back to the whole car building and stuff like that, I think, I see a lot of people who loves grassroots stuff. I do too. There's a lot of people that likes old stuff. I do too. But in order for the manufacturers to realize that they need to build better cars to be able to drift or do whatever, the motorsport side has to kind of show them give them a good time and say, hey, look, we're doing all this cool stuff. They'll see that, and maybe one day they'll say, oh, you know what? It's worth it. So let's start pumping cool cars out again, just like 20 years ago.
I mean,
So like the other thing too, real quick, Sam. So the other thing too with S15s, S14s, we're seeing a lot of BMW E46s, E36s. We're seeing what's some other popular chassis that are floating around right now?
350Z.
350Z FCRX7s, and those are even fizzling out too as they're getting rare. But I think what it's coming down to is like, for me, and I'm just speaking on my behalf. For me, it's cookie cutter. There's a recipe already made and designed. It's off the shelf. I can buy everything tomorrow. There's no R&D, and I think the competition in Formula Drift right now, you don't have much room for R&D because everybody's running at 10/10ths. So if you have to redevelop a whole car from scratch, it's almost like you're starting from scratch. And the exception of this is Steph Papadakis. Obviously, he built the Corolla and came out finished, I think, second in the points with a brand new chassis. But for majority of us, we don't have that technology or that information or
the attention to detail.
Yeah, or the infrastructure that Steph has. So I think
I'm not saying that it's that you're attributing a lot of it to his technology and the people around him, which are not things that should be discounted entirely. But he also has an attention to detail and a tenacity that I don't think most other builders have.
And he had Toyota support behind it too. Outside of that, he had a little bit. Of support
That's
true
for sure. But
so
my question was, there's a lot of cars that are similar to what, like, let's say, for instance, WiseFab makes, suspension kits and angle kits for a lot of cars.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't see that side where there are parts available for different chassis. Because you know how some chassis are the same as the other ones.
True.
And nobody wants to use that because I don't know why. Like, and then they're going to change everything anyways.
Well, let me ask you this then. It's like, obviously you've driven a bunch of chassis over your time, and I'm sure you had some you liked and that you hated. What was the reasoning on why you liked some more than others? And could you find a chassis that's similar to the ones that was your favorite style?
I think it's more of the build. So if the cars were built, back once again to Daigo's, his cars are all kind of built the same because it's built to him. Like, he builds it as the car that he wants to, I don't know, easy for him to drive or the way he likes it. So the car is actually catered to him. So whatever car he drives, he can actually perform the way he wants to. And I think that's what happens with like Steph's team, where they build the car to the way they want to build it versus for some people, they kind of build the car to the way everybody else does it, and then they have to drive it. So it's more of a building the car to likings. So to be honest, I've driven a lot of different cars.
Right.
But I know there was my favorite and my not favorite, but that's because of the build was good or the build wasn't good. And I think it all comes down.
So for example, my favorite generation of Robbie was when Robbie was on the SC300.
Yeah.
And then the other Robbie in the R35, the most recent R35, Jerry's car, which was a different Robbie than what we saw in the SC300. So would you contribute that to the car, the build, what was it? Because you, as the driver, hasn't changed, but the performance between the two was very different.
Yeah, well, the SC was, I think that was the most, that thing broke too, but then that car gave me the least trouble, I guess, when I was competing. So I was able to, a lot of the times I would lose out because something breaks on it. So I think it was just that. the car was more reliable. But the G, I had the G, and that thing broke all the time.
Oh
and it
my
was-
God, I remembered the G2, and I also remembered the VQ powered S13.
Yeah, I mean I drove that thing like 4
Yeah.
times, or something. And then that broke axles all the time. And then when I was driving the 350Z long time ago for the Hanka color one for Dynamic Autosports,
Yeah.
that went. If it wasn't broken, then I would do okay, And then the GTR they made was a disaster, and the GTR that Jerry just had made, the last car that I drove, I was already. This is kind of wrong, but I was already kind of on my way out, and I was already going to retire from the beginning of the year. So I actually didn't want to push the car. So I didn't hit anything with it. I took care of the car. I didn't blow anything up with it, And there were troubles here and there, but I was just trying to help him to develop the car and make sure that the car was okay for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Which
So,
Why did you inevitably decide to retire?
because I was turning 40, so I figured that I should stop.
Which, by the way, that was the saddest goodbye video ever made. Like, I thought you died. It was like, what?
In memory of.
Yeah, it was like, what's going on? Like, is he okay? And then they're like, oh, I'm here. Okay. But
That was cool though.
it was pretty
And
nice. I mean, it's definitely a very
guess-
nice.
I wanted to, because I've seen so many people come and go, and then it's usually they don't know until you're, like, you never know what's going to happen to that person until the next season, until the roster comes up and says, "Hey, where's so and so? Hey, where's so and so?" I wanted to make sure that I was like, "Hey, I'm quitting, or I'm retiring," instead of saying, "Oh, I couldn't make it, or I didn't feel like doing it, or plans changed." I think it's a better way to, it's probably better to just say, "Hey, that's it for me. Thanks, guys," and pass the torch.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, maybe can we talk a little bit more about drifting? I think we're being all over the place, but I actually had a bunch of questions. So now, obviously, I mean, you retired, but next year you were already working with Formula Drift. So it's like you're just not driving, but you're not retiring. You're still around. You're still.
He's too old for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if people haven't been watching your YouTube channel, they can probably they know that you've been in contact with some of the upcoming drivers that are. I mean, I think everybody already knows that Daigo's coming back, but you also have some inside words of some other new drivers coming. I think you pretty much announced officially that Shinji Minoa is coming to the U.S. And is there any other drivers that are coming from Japan?
There's another guy that I stopped by at the shop, and I did like a quick interview thing. The video will come out probably next week or something like that, whenever my brother feels like editing. But
That sounds okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like a little bit angry at your brother there.
he's another guy that always qualified high, and then he's fortunate he got his FD US license because he was top whatever in FD Japan, so he's going to be coming to the US full time.
What's his
He's
name?
actually moving to Oregon, I
Right.
think. So
What's his
he's
name? Can you
going-
tell?
Masayama, Wataru Masayama.
Wataru
He drives, like,
Masayama.
a teal green S15, and he has a wing on it. I guess it's a Nismo wing, but it looks like an Integra Type R
Hell yeah.
rear spoiler on it. Yeah.
So
But,
we have Daigo, we have Shinji Minoa with a JZX.
Mhm.
What's his name again? What was that again?
Masayama
Masayama with a
That's
S15,
exciting.
S15.
and then we also have from last year, 2 years ago as well.
Kazuya Deguchi.
Kazuya Taguchi.
Yeah.
Yokoi is probably
And-
not coming back, right?
I don't think so.
Yokoi was doing pretty good on his last year. I wonder why he's not coming
Yeah.
back.
Well, I mean, it's like everybody always says, like, "Oh, where's Daigo and this and that," and I don't know. Everybody hits me up, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's like I'm not his dad, so I wouldn't know. But he, it's all about sponsorship and timing and all that, and then everything kind of lined up this year, and he's able to come back. So, same as Yokoi. I'm pretty sure all the drivers want to drive in the U.S. and go against U.S. guys, but it's timing, and you will be so surprised how many people in Japan are actually into FD right now, and there's so many people that wants to come to the U.S. to go and compete in the U.S. So I know there's guys that are like, oh, can I go to the U.S. and do Pro 2, or can I start from Pro Am, and you know.
So I was gonna ask you, what is the perception of like dudes in D1 and other drifting organizations or pans? What's their thoughts on American drifting and especially Formula Drift?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure like I was telling you earlier, a lot of the guys are kind of comfortable with what they're doing. So maybe FD style judging is out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So there's people that are against it too. But I mean, just as I was talking about the whole movies on TV, if the world is going one way, it's either you're going to stay and just not, don't use Bluetooth, use 8-tracks, listen to the radio, and, it's either that or you're going to, use Bluetooth and use something that's convenient. Time is constantly changing, so you have to kind of actually take that in and say, hey, you know what? There's changes, and if it's for the good, maybe I should do it. I don't know. So, I mean, especially Japanese older guys, they're really stubborn, so they don't like changes. And like, I don't know, maybe I spoke about this before, but there's still fax machines here.
Oh, yeah.
They sell
Pagers.
CDs and DVDs,
Yeah. I mean, we still sell those too. It's just popularity has waned. And the fax machines do still have a practical purpose to some degree, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about your dad, Daigo.
No, he's
Like-
Daigo's daddy.
Oh, your Daigo's dad. Sorry. Let me ask you about your
Daddy.
son, Daigo. Daddy. Daddy Robbie.
Robbie Daddy.
What sparked him to want to come back?
He's always wanted to come back. Like, he's never wanted to leave. It was just that, well, I'll talk about now, but I stayed in because I just did. And for him, it wasn't practical to stay because of sponsorship and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So he was more of a business guy who said, hey, I want to do it, but doesn't sound like it's a good financial choice for him. And that was it. So
I don't think
now-
it's a good financial choice for anyone. But
It's also Daigo bought Tyler McQuarrie's race rig, I believe. He bought the Camaro. He bought Dave Briggs's 350Z engine that was a NASCAR Dodge motor. Daigo has a bunch of shit and a bunch of old vintage. No, I don't know.
Daigo has a bunch of old shit.
Hey, my
Yeah.
SC sitting in his garage too.
Your SC from Bridges?
Yeah, the one that I drove. I sold it to him at Irwindale after I made the last lap.
No shit.
Wow.
That's cool.
Because I was building the G and I needed money for it. So I was
Yeah.
like, hey, do you want to buy the SC? And he was like, okay. And
Okay. Must be
over
nice.
there.
God, I wish he would have kept the SC.
I'm gonna ask him if he wants to
trade
buy a
the G for
Corvette.
The SC.
I don't have anything anymore.
You sold the
everything.
G too? Wow, dude, you're Boomer Robbie.
I can't. I mean, these cars are too expensive to drive anyways. I mean, something breaks
Yeah.
on it, expensive. You have to have, good tires to drive on it. Without sponsors, it's like impossible to do it unless you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
That's interesting. It is getting that way that these cars are not sustainable. Kind of like if you're working on a NASCAR or a Indy car or something, where it's like you can't just operate it on the weekend
Yeah.
because it just costs too much in labor and
So-
parts
so
and
when
gas
people-
and tires.
I know some people get mad when they're like, "Oh, can I get a ride along?" And it's like, no. If somebody goes to an event, like if Pro Car goes to an event and then they want to ride along, and then they say no, some people get mad. But it's like, hey, it's really expensive stuff, so
Yeah.
they just need to. It's not like a cab that you just jump in and pay a couple bucks for an Uber. It's like
Mm.
you make a lap and tires are gone and the fuel and
Yeah, that's something I was talking about this weekend because I'm going to go to try to drive this weekend, and it's like, even if you're running like C16 or even ethanol, dude, you're spending anywhere from
Yeah.
$12 to $20 a gallon, and you're
Yeah.
going to go through 30 gallons in a day or 20 gallons in a day, and then if you have to buy your tires, you're spending $150, $200 a tire, and you go through 10, 20 tires. It's like you're spending $2,000 or $3,000 a day.
so-
You go out.
even like an average track day for, like, let's say I brought my son's Altez out to the track.
Yeah.
You pay for the track day event. You pay for, well, here you have to pay for the expressway, gas. I mean, you're already $300 to $500 deep, just one track day event. So it is kind of pricey.
Is Corey? Would you say like the thousands of dollars? Is that what you would say even your S chassis costs? Like operate like a grid life day? Do you, let's say sponsor freebies and tires and gas and all that shit. Like let's say that you had to pay for every tire, every bit of fuel, and every bit of maintenance to it. You'd say that every like grid life day would cost you $2 to $3
And do you want me to incorporate travel into that as
No,
well?
I mean no. Let's just pretend that you.
Let me look at
Let's pretend you lived in rural.
Or even how about this? Even if I do local drift event, because I'm doing one this weekend, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing import face off this weekend, right? It is 15 miles from my house. I still have to buy the same race gas that I'd run, even if I was running in Formula Drift, which I'm probably going to use about 15 gallons, and that's $20 a gallon, so 15 times 20. Tires, I'm running the Nexen SUR 4Gs, and I think right now those tires are like $212 or $220 a pop, and I have 16 of them that I'm going to be using, so 16 times 220. That right there is the big expenses between the two. It's just tires and fuel, and then the other thing you have to consider
wear
is
and tear on your major expenses.
Last local drift event I did 5 laps and somebody crashed into me. I had to get a whole driver side wise fab, which is almost $1,000. So then there's not only did I just spend $1,000 in gas and $1,000, I just spent $1,000 in repair for a local event, $3,000 to do.
Remember when you crashed into me that one time?
Oh yeah, that was the best though.
Yeah.
And I was my piece of shit.
Yeah. But it wasn't because I spun, it's because you don't know how to drive.
No, it's true. I think I ran over like a cigarette butt or something. And
yeah, that's what happened for sure. Robbie, what's your favorite car you've ever owned or driven? Drift car.
Probably the SC.
That's
Really?
That's your baby.
Well, I mean, that's why I like that. I mean, that was the most basic, and it worked. So yeah, I like that car the best.
If someone made you an offer you couldn't refuse, they wanted that big Robbie energy back in FD America, what would you build money no option right now to compete on a high level in FD America?
I don't know. Maybe IS 250, IS 350, that chassis, or
You're liking it, huh?
I like that.
like I mean, I guess the budget doesn't really matter, but I think 350Zs are really good cars too because I mean they have everything lined up where it bolts on.
You were just
350Zs
saying how you wanted people to build different cars, Robbie.
Oh no, so that's why the IS would be my number one pick, like
cool.
the one that die crashed a long time ago.
Dude, well, Daigo built the IS 250 with the 2J in it, didn't he? It was a black one.
Yeah, and it was a really, really good car.
That was an amazing car. What ended up happening to that?
I think he sold it to somebody in Asia. Like that was a really, really good car. And like same thing too. That thing has a JZX, or it takes those Toyota diffs that are buff, throw a 2J in it. It's a front rack, so no binding. You don't even have to worry about moving the rack or whatnot. It's actually a pretty good car.
IS 250.
And it's the same wheelbase as a JZX.
Yeah,
So-
I've always loved those cars. I remember some rich little fuck at my high school got one, an IS 300 when they first came out.
Yeah.
And man, I was envious. As you call them, a Toyota Alteza.
Yeah.
And,
Oh no, I'm talking about the
Second
one.
gen.
I know,
that-
I know you are, but I'm just saying, like the entire
the
car
Alteza?
line. The entire car line though, like
Yeah,
has
yes.
always been cool.
Yeah, so like for instance, Alteza is just kind of becoming a trend now. But
Really?
I mean, isn't it? I think a lot of people are starting to kind
Well,
of.
they're getting cheap because like over here like that's a luxury car, so
Yeah.
they were kind of like still on the higher price, but it's a car that you can like straight up bolt on any 2J setup. It was a car that
everything
came.
bolts on.
Yeah, it came with a manual transmission, so there's easy ways to convert it to manual if you get an automatic. And
Yeah.
now they're cheap because now they're all beaten up and the leather is all ripped off and yeah.
So that was on my wish list. So my last year with my sponsors before I had to get rid of the SC, they wanted something more current because they said something about being marketable. So I had no choice but to get something new, even though it sucked. And I wanted I wanted an IS300 at first, and they're like, no, that's not current.
too
And I was
old.
like, oh, I wanted the IS250, 350, and they're like, well, they just came out with a new one, so that's not new. So they wanted something that was still selling brand new in the market. So I looked on Craigslist, and the cheapest rear-wheel drive car that I was able to find, that was still currently sold, was the G37, and that's why I had the G37. And that wasn't my choice. So.
Which is not a bad car, right? I mean, it's pretty much a longer
no, the
wheelbase 370Z.
I'm not gonna say who and how, but then the G was kind of, that was a, I was, I don't know, I was wedged in a tight spot where it was like the car had to go somewhere else, and then something happened there,
Yeah.
and it wasn't all under my control. Car didn't make it for the first round, and it was built half-ass, and couldn't use this, couldn't use that, and yeah. So I believe that I don't think there's ever really a bad car to drift as long as you have 4 tires on it. It's just how it's built.
Yeah.
And if you build it right, it should be okay.
What about a Plymouth Prowler? Is that a good car to drift?
Oh,
Well, I have to remember. I don't know what that is. I have to look at it.
Google it,
Do it.
Rob.
Do it.
He can't Google it right now, Sam. He's on his phone.
I didn't realize that there's a new IS300. They're calling it a 300 again, and it kind of looks like dog shit. Like the
Dude, I'm telling you, all Lexus right now, they have that horrible front grille.
yeah,
Um,
it's kind of disgusting looking.
yeah. And then the LC is where it's at. It's just too expensive.
Yeah, I just looked up used ones, of course,
the
So
and used
Yeah,
ones are like
so-
60 G's. The GSF is pretty cool looking though. That's their 4-door sedan one.
RCF
I'm
is
gonna-
pretty cool too.
What's
I'm
that?
gonna
Rob?
go into a little interview thing too later on when I get the chance to go to Ebisu. But like Andrew Gray from Power Vehicles, he built the
Mhm.
RC,
Nice.
and he's gonna debut it this year for the competition. So the
And
car's
what-
up there.
is he competing in Formula Drift Japan or where is he competing? FT Japan.
Yeah.
I wish he would come to FD USA because it seems to be very dominant over there. I'd like to see what he does in the US.
And that's another problem too. It's like it's just so different when you're
Mhm.
not from there. Like it's really like I see James Dean and them. They do. I know they probably have to go through so much because, I mean, they're not natives there. And same as us when we used to, or when I used to compete. Yeah, I speak the language, and if you're not with the right people, it's so easy
Definitely.
to just, it's
Yeah,
a
well,
waste of time. A lot of times I go there just to sit there because the car's not
Yeah.
ready or something.
Well,
so
some of our good friends have even been screwed by that. Yeah, American friends of not dealing with good people. So there's shitty people everywhere, of course. And
yeah.
fortunately,
So I think it goes the same. And for Andy, it's easy because his shop's here. He has total control of the car.
Yeah.
He gets to transport the car. He gets to test the car versus when it's in the U.S., it's hard for us to get to the car, or we can't go testing, or I can't just get up in the middle of the night, go to the shop and just start wrenching on it because of
Right.
at night, So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there was his rookie year. Didn't Andrew Gray get Rookie of the Year when he first competed? And then he built the second car, and that's when he had issues. And the reasoning was because he didn't have enough test time in the.
I
new
think-
class.
I think he did Pro 2. He did okay in Pro 2 with this first
Yeah, he did
car.
great.
yeah.
Yeah, then he didn't do good in Pro 1 because I guess the car and this and that. But
Yeah,
Maybe
what
one
year
day
was he
he'll
here
be back.
again? I forget. How long has it been?
Oh,
Four
it's
years
been
ago?
2015,
15 and 16, I think.
Yeah, okay. It's more recent than I thought. I remember he was here, but I didn't remember
Or
how
16
recent.
and 17, but it
I googled just Andrew Gray to see who came up. It is not what you would think.
yeah. Why don't you Google Ryan Sage?
Well, Andrew Gray seems to be a hot member of the gay community. There's actually a bunch of gay community Andrew Grays here, and by hot, I don't mean sexy. Although it could be, I guess by definition, it'd be sexy. Anyways, I sound like I'm a gay person now. That's cool. I don't shame. Yeah,
I'll
Ryan
ask him.
Sage has some good hits too.
Yeah.
Hold on, have we Googled Robbie yet?
Just
let's
Google
see.
him.
Robbie Nishida, do you have any cool? Oh, it's all cars.
It's all cars. And then
Well, cars, and here's a very young Speed Hunters
mean
photo of Robbie
mugging.
from Irwindale 2009 with some sick ass hairstyles. You got a bunch of razor cuts in the side there.
damn.
Damn, Rob. Here's one with you with like a
Still my-
mohawk mullet with a visor on and the hair sticking up from the visor hard.
Yeah, see?
Damn,
Legit.
Rob, it used to be.
See, times changed.
Yeah.
Times change, man. No more boobs on TV.
No more boobs
Yep.
on TV.
That's what
I,
happened. So Robbie was born a man, and then as soon as the boobs went away, he just went back
Doing
to being a baby like all of us. We just turned into little infants.
Rob,
We went
do
backwards.
you do any and you fuck with some mangas and some animes?
hentai.
Yeah, you fuck with some hentai?
I don't. I don't.
No.
Yeah.
Grow up.
I mean, I watched a few that are probably popular, but I'm not really into.
No.
Dude, because like I was too car stupid, where it's like that's all I was looking at until like a
Hentai?
couple years ago, and now it's like,
Hentai.
oh, look, other things, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a car hentai for a long time.
So by the time you gather interest, boobs weren't on TV anymore.
yeah,
Uh,
I saw a cool internet post a couple months ago on how like all these famous movie scenes were recreated from the manga Berserk. Are you aware of that one, Rob?
mm-mm.
No. Paco, you're a nerd. Brian, you're a nerd. Do you know about Berserk?
yep.
So that's my first manga reading right now.
Oh.
I bought a couple of those. It's fucking dark.
Dirty.
It's got boobs.
It's dirty.
It's got extreme violence.
Nice.
That's the stuff that you're getting away from there, Rob, and I hate it because it's cool. It's very it's
I'll
very
check it
dope.
out.
Do it. Yeah, you're God, I was going back through my browser and then all these strong Andrew Grays just looked at me.
Speaking of boobs and violence and gore,
Mhm.
what was the best podium, like the best finishing you had in Formula Drift, Robbie?
What? Hold on. What was that transition pocket? Speaking of boobs and violence and gore, because we know that after any win Rob got, he would go hard. He would party.
Yeah.
I didn't. No, I never won an event. I made podium.
What was
I think I was like
so? What,
third.
like second place, your best finish?
No, I was third.
Why you gotta fucking rub it in their pocket?
No, well, I mean, I'm asking because, like, also, like, what was the highest you finished? Because, I mean, you've been doing, like, you are a respected driver. It just kind of like wanna come up with a, like, you don't necessarily have to be, like top finisher to be known as a driver who knows what they're doing.
I was just around a long time. That's all.
But I mean, like, you still did like good enough, as in like, like you
Yeah.
you
No,
podium.
but
you-
You made a name
I
for
consider
yourself.
myself as I consider myself as a top 8 driver, maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, not everybody's gonna be a champion.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that from the earlier stages. So I was more of like, I'll do my best, and whatever it's gonna do is whatever it's gonna happen, and you know that's
You're
all. How I'm not.
a
I'm not
pillar
a
of the
really,
community. You've been a pillar of the
I'm not a
community
good
since day
Yeah.
one.
like I don't think I'm made to compete. Like I'm not really like, if I lose, I'm not really, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I lost. Or if I win, it's like, oh, okay, cool, I won. So it was not like I'm a doer. So it was like more of a, I'm happy to just be able to go and drift.
Yeah. That's a
And that was
beautiful
kinda-
way to
Yeah.
look at it.
Well, to us, you are a
That
champion.
sounds like Robbie just described me, dude. That was me
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
You're just down to clown.
Yeah,
And that was the time where Robbie had Daigo try to fight me, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that. I'm
I
not
do
gonna
want to
get
get.
into
I do want to get into
I
that.
remember Robbie telling me that Daigo told Robbie that I don't take the sport serious enough.
Oh no.
No,
That
you know
was-
why he said that?
Why?
Because he, like, you wouldn't say that to somebody if you knew that they kind of had it. You know what I mean? Like, if someone saw you and you had the skill to do it, somebody might say, hey, it's like, you should do a little bit more. Maybe you can get further into the competition or whatever, So that's actually a cool thing.
Wow.
Like, because if you like totally sucked, people won't even say that. Like, it
Yeah,
would just be like, it's okay,
he's not angry with you. He's just disappointed, Corey.
It's
Yeah, it's like that, maybe.
no.
One
Hey,
thing that kind of threw me off about I was at my first F1 thing. That's why I was in Spain this last time, and everyone from what I could gather when we were working with the drivers, like everyone there thinks they're a champion that just doesn't have the right car. Like
I believe it.
everyone, I'm curious to see when and if FD will ever get that way. 'Cause it's like the teams are just so. I'm sure there's already people that think that for sure. Like if I had a James Dean S15 or a Papa car, like I would be a champion. And I'm sure that's already starting to happen. But I'm curious if we're ever going to get to that full spot where it's like there's 10 or 20 champion drivers, but it's just the arms race of car manufacturing.
Well, let me I'll bring something up real quick in that regards. You know, like everybody's supposedly in the wrong car, and that the champion's a champion because he has the perfect car. Adam LZ just a couple days ago drove Vaughn's car. Do you see that video?
That was the first internet video of what I haven't watched a automotive vlog in its entirety ever, maybe.
Yeah.
But I was curious to see.
Did you see though how Adam drove that car? And obviously, it's not his car, and he's not gonna. But it was very different than from how Vaughn drives it.
Yeah.
And that's a
Right.
championship-winning car essentially. So you
Yeah.
could see that you could put somebody in a championship-winning car, and it's just there's a little different. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like he did anything wrong. It was just the attitude of how he drove it was much
Right.
different. Now, once again,
I think
all
Vaughn
the
has a
variables.
he only had a minute in the car, to
Yeah.
adjust or whatever. But like, and I think Vaughn out of most drivers has like a tighter setup than many. If I could guess, I haven't been on the team in years, but yeah, I don't know how he dials it in today, but I definitely feel like he had a specific to him his driving style setup.
Yeah, and it was
Hey,
very
I-
interesting. What's that, Rob?
I don't want to interrupt or anything, but I don't know why my phone's not charging.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're just about to go on Instagram questions. How much time you got? You got
2,
5 minutes, 10 minutes?
3 minutes.
I don't know. Let me try to switch the.
You don't
I
have
might- I might die. The
No, you're good. Don't die on us, Rob. But it's fine if you do. We understand. But we're good. So we'll go right into some Instagrammy questions here, and if we got time in the end, we'll go elsewhere. So we would usually do some YouTube super chat, but you audio only listeners or video later guys are very, very lucky that we can't today because our video stream died. / we can't show any video of this right now unless you're watching it later, where we censored out Robert's Japanese burrito blade. So, Cat will not stop yelling at me. Bucky, I love you. I'm so sorry. These are questions from Instagram, and these are pretty good questions. Rob, are you still there?
Looks like he's trying to.
Did his phone fucking die? This is the worst connection problem show we've ever had.
Dude, Paco, what's happening to the internet at the command center?
Well, I think this is Robert.
This is Robbie. He ran out of battery.
Robert's phone may have done and died on us. That's a bum.
So you can see both.
We can.
Here,
That's
Sam,
it.
Sam, no, let me ask you the questions and you can be Robbie.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, just
Don't ask Harold's because I'm really excited about that.
oh, okay.
Just to still. Don't.
Oh my
Don't
God,
show
this
it.
is an amazing question.
Wanted to find out.
And we can use this on Robbie since now he's the judge, but I'm going to refer to you as Bobby Blashida.
Mhm.
All right, Bobby, this is from 88 Trans Am. What do you look for in a 100-point edible arrangement?
So here's what I'm looking for, fellas. I would be looking for skew. These things are on skewers, clearly, right? So you've got a bouquet, or you got a flower pot. That's gonna be where we start, right? So I want to be able to set this thing on the table so I can enjoy it. So you can't go with the bouquet of the flower arrangement / edible arrangement. You got to put it in a pot for the table. I'm going to talk about skewers now. Skewers, you're going to have a little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory. I want to have, strawberries, but I also want to have some treats. I want to have some choco, maybe some cheeses, but then also maybe some meats. Like I want a 5-course meal. I don't know how soup plays into this.
That's just called that's called the kebab, Bobby.
Yeah, but that's how edible arrangements are often arranged, like on skewers. But then there's got to be some soup component to mine as well. Like I want a fully diverse arrangement. Like maybe that pot on the bottom is full of soups.
Open soup, like a bowl of soup, like exposed or cans.
Yeah,
of soup?
exposed. No, exposed for sure.
Okay, good.
It's open, so that way I can sip from the edible pot arrangement.
Or make a fondue with the.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking. I want chicken wings, bone in, lemon pepper wet. I want chocolate covered strawberries. I want fine cheeses. I want young manchego, what I like to call boychego.
Whoa.
Nice boy. Yeah. I'm talking 3 months here, guys. If your manchego's aged more than 3 months, I don't want it.
You want
Um,
mildly
second.
aged Bontrago?
yeah. Well, what's your edible arrangement?
My
style
little
for it?
arrangement would consist of like Rolos. The
Those are good. I feel like
Yeah.
that's underrated.
And it's like one of those things you could easily just, put on a skewer and just nibble on every now and then. You can maybe take little bites. But in the bowl, I'd have Dippin' Dots, exposed
Yep.
Dippin' Dots.
Oh, dude, what happened to the Dippin' Dots machines at movie theaters?
I don't know, dude.
Those
So
are
mine
the
would-
best.
Mine would be, mine would purely be fruits are just terrible anyways. I wouldn't want any fruit.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
we got it. We do have a new challenger has appeared. Looks
Uh-oh.
like maybe. Oh, we'll see. Dippin' Dots. How would you even arrange that in the edible? Oh, there's Rob.
oh, he's in
Hey,
a car,
Sorry
guys.
about that.
Rob, you fucking ruined our show, bud.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's all good. We'll forgive you for now. Rob, are you ready for some Instagram questions?
Yep.
What do you? This is from 88 Trans Am. What do you look for in a 100-point edible arrangement? Do you know what an edible arrangement is, Rob?
Food?
Pretty much.
Yes,
Good job,
correct.
Robbie.
So one of the longest running bad jokes we have on the show is that the judges at FD are all swayed by how good of an edible arrangement bouquet display they receive from all the drivers at Long Beach. So the joke / reality, because it is true, is that at Long Beach, and you need to be prepared for this. Right now we're training you really.
Okay.
In Long Beach, what happens is all the drivers. This is a secret meeting. I'm sure they haven't told you about it yet because you haven't gone to the ceremony with the knives and the blood and the candles and all that
Right.
with the other judges and Ryan and Jim. But you're going to do that really soon, I'm sure. They told me the inside scoop. Anyways, you get ceremonially indoctrinated as a judge, and then after that you have a secret meeting the night before Long Beach, and all the drivers, all 20, 30, how many drivers we have? 30 something
33.
drivers line up, and what they have purchased or created is edible arrangements, and what that is it's like imagine like a nice flower arrangement,
Mm-hmm.
but it's full of things you can eat, like
Okay.
cheeses and fruits and vegetables and meats and like soups, perhaps. I don't know. Anyways, what in your edible arrangement would make you happy?
Probably ramen,
Mm.
ramen
Mhm.
noodles,
Mm.
In-N-Out burger,
Ooh, connoisseur.
and then creme brulee for dessert.
Creme brulee, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I love that shit.
Nice. Fancy
yeah, so-
gentlemen.
So yeah, then the judges, you guys will decide the placements and the script for the season based on how good the arrangement was. So
Okay.
drivers, I know you guys are all listening to this show for all that hot facts that we like to deliver in this show about how to make Robbie happy. Now we know. So ramen, In-N-Out,
Yeah.
creme brulee. Any sushis and sashimis or no?
No, I'll eat that when I'm home.
What
So-
about
Oh.
ranch dressing?
For
I don't
dipping.
know. Ranch? I don't know. I don't know. No.
You're not a ranch guy? Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
so.
Can
More-
I get the next one too?
I ha-
Because I'm really excited
Yeah.
about this question from Gerald Hernandez. His question is, what are your intentions with my daughter?
I don't know if I can
Great.
say this, but
Great question.
I'll be nice.
Oh,
Oh. Yeah, that is nice.
that's
okay.
very nice.
I'll be really nice.
Here's
Yeah,
a
you guys-
question.
You guys got one? Yeah.
Yeah, here's Freedom 83177. How do you think Daigo will stack up this against everyone in the 1,000 horsepower JZ car?
Well, I think back in the days when he first came, everybody was in 1,000 horsepower. Now everybody is. So I know it'll be a lot harder, and also, just watching him drive internationally and other places. I think he was in Oman like
a month or two ago, and he wasn't doing so well because the car was messed up or whatever. But I think it is definitely going to be out of his comfort zone where FD has kind of changed after the 6-7 years or whenever he was last year.
After
So-
he ruined it with his
Yeah.
horsepower war.
Yeah, so now that he has to come back, so I talked to him and I asked him, and he doesn't think that he's just gonna come and sweep everything. He thinks he's a challenger again. And
For sure. Do you know if he has any Daigo tricks up his sleeve? Is he going to create the next crisis in FD?
Well, I think it's hard to do that because everything is kind of already out there. I mean, he may surprise us.
yeah.
No, but
I'm sure everyone thought it was out there the year that he showed up with a 1,200 horsepower car when everyone else had 600 horsepower cars. I mean, like there's going to be a next generation of that. I don't know what it is yet. It's like there was steering angle.
James Dean brought the consistency game, the very robotic, very simplified program. Not
That's
simplified program, but simplified vehicle.
Yeah, that's been the Zeitgeist for the past few years, but like I think we're ready for the next revolution, whatever that's going to be. I'm curious to see.
And Robbie did bring up a point about Omen. James Dean won every race at Omen, and I heard Daigo had a hard time getting out of top 8, even if he did get out of top 8.
Yeah.
Oman?
Yeah.
Did you say Omen?
Oman. That was
Omen.
like a Middle East drift series, and Daigo couldn't get out of top 8.
Oman.
Out of
Well,
all
I guess
4 rounds.
because he blew up like 2 motors every day and
Oh God.
and stuff, right? But
Why?
that's not an excuse because you're going, you're competing. You need a running car, and I see it as if I went and had somebody do something to my car, it was my choice to have them do it, and if they screwed it up, it's my choice for picking that person. So at the end, it's my own fault. So
Yeah.
he went to Oman with whatever he had. He wasn't prepared. Looked like he had too much grip or did something and he didn't do well, and that's all his fault. So hopefully that's a learning curve for him before he comes to the States too.
Well, even when he was with Bridges the first 2 years, he was going through motors left and right. I remember there was even one event where he ripped the AM Infinity out of his car and threw it on the ground. Like, he's always been the dude that's just going through these engines. Hopefully something has changed now where he has a more consistent. But it's a bummer. He goes.
I try to tell him that, but like, that's just maybe that's what's cool about him, I guess, because he wants to do everything to the extreme. Where, like this new car, he has flat shift, anti-lag, nitrous, big turbo, 3.4 liter. So he's kind of throwing everything at the car, and
And his
hopefully,
8.6 that he's bringing to US?
yeah,
Damn.
So-
You said anti-lag, turbo, nitrous.
and flat shift.
What's flat shift?
Full
Like,
throttle,
you
just bang gears.
Just full throttle, you just
Oh,
keep
yeah.
going. Yeah. So, he's kind of putting everything in the car. Like, I guess that's just his style. He likes to just, if
Yeah.
it's there, he'll do it. So
Wow.
if that's
Here-
gonna work out or not.
I got a question for you from Sausage Whistle 12. He
Hi.
wants to know if you were to return to Formula Drift, what car and engine pack would you bring back in 2020?
We already did that, bud.
What was it?
IS300.
Oh yeah, the ISC50. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a question.
Paco, did you see the one from Macho?
Uh,
Hit your question, and then if you would kindly read the one from Macho Man.
yeah, this one's pretty quick from Phil Miranda. What is your view on drift simulators?
Oh, all right. So, I met a dude that came to Ebisu when I was there,
Uh-huh.
and he's never driven Ebisu and never drifted there, but he drove it like a gazillion times on the simulator. And he came and he just started doing laps and laps and laps, like
Nice.
with no problem. So that kind of proves that
Hello,
No.
Robbie.
Kind
Oh,
of
It proves
he-
what?
oh no.
There you back.
Oh, there
That
you go.
kinda proves what?
that the visual part.
Oh, no.
Oh no. His
This
phone is
such
dying
a
again.
tease. What does it prove, baby? Oh, you're back.
Robbie.
You good, bud?
Robbie.
Say something again, Robbie.
I can hear. Can you guys hear?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you now.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting a call.
Oh.
This is a disaster.
No, it's not. It's going perfectly, Robbie. There's editing. Don't edit this out because it shows Robbie's true character.
Hey, give me 1 sec, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
All right,
Let's see if Robbie can figure out how to switch.
So there's a
quick.
really hot question coming up here from
Macho Man.
Macho. Macho
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
you are an
We lost
apex
Robbie.
predator of the comment. Yeah, he'll be back. Macho, you are an apex commenter of the predator section here. I am
Dude, I read that just a second ago, Sam, and that's something I've always wanted to know that I didn't know I needed to know.
Yeah, because where do you fall on this?
I'm kind of towards the panda, dude.
Yeah, for sure. We'll understand the rest of that question in a minute, listeners.
Well,
and then
Sam, and I wanted to say this: you don't want to be known as a pecker kisser. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm just
that'll
gonna leave
ruin
it at that.
that'll ruin your rep forever.
Oh yeah.
There's another one from Drop a Gear 7 that we definitely got to hit if we ever get Robbie back. Has to do with prostates. So you guys have really been going hard in these questions lately, and I appreciate that. It's about you. Corey, did you see the one from Drop a Gear 7 near the bottom there?
Let me see. Drop a Gear 7.
Is a would you rather question? Without reading the question, without reading the question aloud, do you know which one you would like?
I'd probably give it.
You'd give the exam?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who. I would go for.
What if it's Paco wearing a face mask?
I don't know what's the question, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Absolutely not.
Because it would be Dr. Paco wearing a face mask is what I envision it.
Okay.
Huh.
I mean, that also sounds like a nightmare to receive that sort of exam.
Yeah.
Boy, I hope Robbie comes back so we can actually read these questions. I guess. Fuck, I don't want to get too deep into other topics if he's just coming right back, man. Guys, I'm going to be in Spain again next week.
Yeah, so
Why are you
just
gonna get
I
paid?
have to do shooting some Snap-on stuff now.
actually
But
tell us
do you-
how was it, and why
you
you coming
want to talk
back?
about F1 Spain? Sure.
Yeah.
Well, within an hour of being there, my backpack with all of my racing drone and slow drone and all of my drone equipment, and my new $3,000 laptop, and my Bose headphones, and my AirPods, and my international driver's license all got stolen. Right away.
Jeez.
Oh my
That
god.
sucks.
How? How did that get stolen?
Hey, Robbie, are you there?
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, hey.
Next time,
Good time.
maybe I should use Wi-Fi and put my phone on like airplane mode or something.
Robbie, god damn it. No, you can't put on. I guess you could. It's okay. Robbie's back. Robbie, we have some hard-hitting questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Paco, you want to read Macho Man's?
Oh no, you go for it.
Okay, I'll take the honors.
Yeah.
He says, Macho Man Randy Sanchez says, would you rather French kiss a chicken or finger a panda?
That's a great question.
Probably the chicken.
Really?
Okay, wow.
Okay, but
Well, we just talked about this. Are you
Yeah,
sure you
Corey
want to
and
be
I
known
are-
as a we're
Yeah.
panda? We're panda fingers.
I don't know. I mean,
Because we don't want to be known as a pecker kisser, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's it's a bird and a panda, right?
right.
Yeah.
but have you seen a chicken mouth before?
I know. I just closed my eyes.
That means you're passionate. You're a passionate kisser, Robbie. Wow.
Isn't that how coronavirus
It's a
started? Someone was
gentleman.
French kissing a chicken?
It was a bat. They French kissed
Well,
a
see,
bat.
it's already
Oh.
out, so I can't make it any worse.
That's true. Paco, are you a panda boy or a chicken kisser?
I think I'm going with chicken too.
Oh my God.
Wow,
Yeah,
what's wrong
first
with
time-
fingering a panda?
Yeah, the first time we've had two pecker kissers on stream.
I have a question. I have a question about this scenario though. Is the panda looking you in the eyes the whole time?
Oh man.
I would close my eyes too. I mean,
Corey, does that change that for you if the panda's locking eyes with you?
Oh, I would still do it. 100%. There's compassion behind it, dude.
Yeah, if anything, that makes it better.
I would reenact that scene from Ghost where we make a clay pot together and I'm just laying over the panda's back as he's spooling up a little pottery, dude.
Wait,
And then
is Patrick Swayze or whoever the fuck it is in Ghost? Is he fingering the person while she's making a clay pot?
It's a ghost, dude. You can't finger boss the ghost. Come on.
He's the ghost.
Oh, is
he's
he? Oh boy.
Jesus. All right, let's
Finger
screw up,
camera.
guys.
Sorry.
All right, Rob, sorry. I'm so sorry about that question. I'm so sorry. Let's get back on track here. Drop a Gear 7 says, would you rather be the person receiving a prostate exam or be the one doing the exam? Asking for a friend.
Man, like I don't know, man. I mean, I
Okay,
guess
let me throw a scenario at you real quick because there's two ways of looking at this.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Alright.
if by receiving the exam, that means you may not die because you'll maybe find something out. But if you're giving it, it'd purely be just for pleasure.
ugh.
is this other person a male or female?
Females don't have prostate,
male.
Robbie.
I know.
Paco, is that true? I don't know if that's
No,
true.
that's not true because they're called prostate toots. Of course they have one.
Very good. I just
Okay.
realized I know a despicable amount about human anatomy. I don't know if females have prostates.
Really?
That's fine. All right, Robbie, answer the fucking question. We don't have time for this until your phone drops out again.
All right, I'll take it.
You're gonna take the exam?
He's gonna get checked. Robbie's healthy, dude.
I mean,
What if it was-
once you're
What if it was Paco doing the exam? Does that change anything?
No.
I mean, once you become 40, you kind of have to, anyways, right? I mean, it's just part of growing up.
Yeah, you know, maybe I should go get one because, yeah, I'm
I've never
42,
gotten
so-
one. I'm
You're
kind
not
of
40
interested.
either, Sam.
I look like I'm 50, if that counts.
Yeah, that counts. Age
You
is
should go get a lot of tests.
Yeah. God, can we just get back on track finally with
Yes.
some drift questions?
I got
Iron
one, I got one,
Dookie-
I got
no,
one.
Iron Dookie has the best drift question I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Corey. We can get to it in a second. So Iron Dookie, longtime questioner, first-time listener. There's a terrible accident. You find yourself on the edge of a cliff. In your right hand, dangling hundreds of feet above the jagged rocks below, is Lantaine.
Mhm.
In your left hand, facing certain death, is Conspire,
Brian
aka
Brian Egger.
Bagman. Why were you three hanging out on a cliff? I don't fucking know. The point is you have to pick. Do you easily lift them both up to safety with your dad's strength, or do you pretend to struggle and drop both of them and start fresh with two new judges? Iron Dookie with the drama.
Wow.
Well, if I could
I'm
pick
a-
up both, I
Yeah.
could pick up both, then yeah, I'd help him, of course. But if I could only pick one, then it'll probably be Brain. Or
No one
Brian.
asked that, Ryan. Or no one asked that. No one asked that. Daigo, fucking. Hey, Robbie.
Wow.
Robbie, no one asked that. No one asked which one you would kill.
The question
What-
is, you
what do
kill
you
him.
have against? What do you have against Brian?
No, I mean Brian has a family and Ryan's single, so sorry.
Boom.
Oh wait, I misunderstood. You
Yeah, no,
said
he.
You're gonna drop
Save.
Ryan.
Yeah, to save Brian, so
Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
goes back to his family.
So
Yeah.
Lawnmower Man's out. Eggman's in.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful. Ryan has all those Brazilian girlfriends that'll probably come after you, so you just gotta be careful.
Well, I mean, that's why I live in Japan. I'm 30 hours away from Brazil by plane.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Good.
All right, Corey, you got a hard hitter for us here. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a hard. This is
Whoa.
this is this is from OMSR 295. Top 3 worst things about drifting.
top 3 worst things about drifting,
Yep.
Uh-huh.
and that doesn't matter if it's like stateside or in Japan.
Anywhere.
In general, it
Drift.
could be in the moon. Moon drift.
Well, I think the worst part about drifting is the people,
Yeah.
I was
Fair.
gonna
which
say,
is the best part as well.
Yep.
I was gonna say that exactly. The
worst
fans are
part
the
about
worst and the
drifting is,
best.
I mean, there's so many people out there that takes advantage of the sport to just, to try to make money or jack people, those people.
Yeah, like us. We only do this show to make money.
Oh,
That's a
please.
good time for him to freeze.
Take that, Robbie.
Yeah, it's the high quality production value of the show that really nets in all the sponsors. And that's
Well,
what
2020, we said we're going to start with a bang, and what we meant by that is the internet self-destruction and blowing up on itself.
Well, 2020, we've done at least one episode prior.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. No, we've done a lot more than that. Can you guys please fucking do an episode while I'm gone next week? I'd be so happy.
Yep.
What's happening
Do it.
next week?
Yep. We're having an episode. So, is Robbie frozen or gone?
Yeah, Robbie's
froze.
frozen. That's fine. We'll let's continue. We're gonna do all the stuff that we
if
would do
he's
after
frozen,
Robbie's gone, before he's
just
gone.
let him
Hopefully he
go.
comes back again. I don't have any more questions for him, honestly. I just want to say thank you. Do you have any more questions? For
Yeah,
him?
no, just thank you and let him have the last word.
Oh,
I
his
also
last word is
wanna-
going to be Paco suck a D.
Whoa.
Sam, I want to punch you in the neck.
That's
Corey,
fair.
you look really good. I want you to kiss me. And I'll be like, I'm not a chicken, Rob. And he's like, yeah, you are. And I said, okay, watch. And I'd give him a chicken peck. And then we'd send him back off on the internet.
Yeah. So,
that's
anyways, I was
pretty much the wrap up.
I was in Spain and I had $12,000 worth of gear stolen in the first hour. That was cool.
Jeez.
Yeah, how the fuck did that happen?
We were unloading all of our bags outside the Airbnb, and we even assigned someone to watch over the bags. But while we were unloading the bags, some dude came up and asked us where the beach was, which in hindsight was pretty fucking dumb because it was right around the corner. And then literally only had our heads turned away for 10 seconds. And then about a minute later, I was like, "Where's my drone bag?" And then where's my buddy Davis's shoulder bag?
Oof.
So these dumb fucking thieves made off with $20,000 worth of gear. A lot of it specialized, that they could never sell. My beautiful baby boy, his name was Fast Kevin 2.0. He was a very special race drone to me. Is built by Corey's man lover Dustin, and he built the best drone ever made. So that's a bummer that got disappeared. All that specialized drone gear, and insurance will cover it seems, but there's so many man hours into that shit between Dustin and that drone
so
and
you're
me
gonna
tuning
get
it
your
up.
12 grand back?
I hope. We'll see. And still in the talks with insurance, but pretty big bummer. I didn't have a laptop for much of this F1 trip, where a laptop would have been critical for me. I did ship one from the Americas because they don't make Razer Blade Pro 15 inches over in Spain or sell them there. And by the way, that's the name of my dildo that got stolen, not the laptop. Boom! Razer, it's a Razer Blade Pro 15-inch laptop that I just bought with all my hard-earned monies for the tune of 3 Gimolas, and then it got jacked, and then I had to try to overnight one from America that cost $300, and then it was stuck in customs.
Oh my
and
God.
then the Spanish government charged me $500 in tariff to bring it over. And
Why?
Then, but then
Wow.
I got that cool. So I got robbed by the thieves. I got robbed by the lower government, the Spanish cops, for not wearing a helmet, even though I was just moving it down an alley for 100 feet. And then I also got robbed by the higher government from the customs tariff
Wow.
people. So your country, Paco, Spain, kind of fucking sucks, but it's also very beautiful.
Hey
It's
Sam,
also
and you're
one of the
going
most-
back again. Looks like you want
Yep.
some more.
I'm going to San Sebastian on the northern coast.
Oh.
But I have to finish that statement because it kind of fucking sucks in that regard. But it's also maybe one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. The food is incredible. Everyone who I met that wasn't a thief or a cop or the customs department was super fucking nice. And I love Barcelona. Honestly, I could totally live there someday if I had to. F1, super cool. Very excited.
So you're hanging out with all the drivers.
Yeah, we got to talk with and do shoot with every driver individually, and we did something very special that I don't think has maybe ever happened in this regard and to this extent. That is getting all 20 drivers together in one place and doing a video with them, a very short video, mind you. But they've done a yearbook photo every year, but it's literally a class photo, people sitting in chairs on the start line. It's kind of silly, but we had 10 minutes with 20 drivers. That was actually 6 minutes with 20 drivers that we got a couple shots with, and I think that's releasing tomorrow.
Damn, that's cool.
But yeah, so that's cool.
Was
F1's awesome.
Who's the most arrogant and who was the worst to get along with?
So I watched half of the Netflix show Drive to Survive before going in here, and so my knowledge of F1 is literally that. Overhearing people like Jacob, one of the partners at RS, and other people that care about F1 talk about it a little bit, and then Daniel Ricciardo, driver who has a relationship with us at RS, who I've shot with before. So that's like all I've known about F1, and Daniel's a badass. Love him. But like going into this, I kind of thought that Max Verstappen was kind of a weenie, and then and that who else? I'm thinking of like Lewis Hamilton, obviously best winningest dude. I kind of thought that he not sucked. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but yeah. After spending a minute with both of those dudes, like really liked them. I got much respect. I got much respect for everyone out there because those cars are fucking insane, and like we're bothering them to get like these scenes. Not bothering. We're working with them to get these scenes as they like walk into their cars, but before they're about to go out to practice, and it's like they're very clearly in the zone and can't pay us a time of day because they're about to do the craziest driving anyone's ever done. Like, and that was the biggest takeaway, and I'm excited to see. The majority of my car time up to this point has been drifting, and drifting is rad, seeing how much it's progressed and how advanced things are getting. But it is a different level, clearly, that these cars are so fine-tuned and so purpose-built, and literally, not for most teams, but for some teams, money kind of no option. What can you build that is the fastest, best thing in the world? And it's just insane to see.
You had a chance to meet Checo? The Mexican kid?
Me personally, no.
Oh.
Our team did work with them. We were kind of like, we split the drivers in half.
Oh, cool.
No,
Which half, from the waist up and down, or like right in the middle?
Yeah. Lando Norris is really cool. Sebastian Vettel, very nice, fun guy. I liked,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember most of the guys. I'm really bad. But I'm going to watch F1 now. I'm going to watch season 2 of Netflix, Drive to Survive. I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
And
seems like Robbie's Skype is unavailable, so he's probably gone.
Dead.
Yeah.
Robbie, thank you so much.
Rest
as a
in
guest
peace,
on the
Robbie.
Show. Rip Robbie. I
F in
love
chat.
you as a guest. Sorry the show was kind of a shit show, but Paco's going to edit it perfectly, so you're going to be so confused when I say this, and you're like, what? I didn't hear that.
No, nothing happened.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that was a shit show. It was also a shit show in that, like, I feel like we didn't talk enough about judging, but also what can you really say? Like, he will judge as he judges, and he's gonna be fair and honest. But like, we did get the big nugget of information out of him. I think that he is going to be a more passionate judger versus a technical judger. Like, he's looking for big moves versus technical moves.
Plus, we will talk about the judging once there is some judging made. So we'll see. I think he's gonna do a great job, and everybody on the comments, and everybody seems very happy about the choice of having Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see if that will sustain.
We'll see for how long.
Passionate. But I mean, like, passionate judging is going to win fans, and it's going to lose people too, because they're going to be like, wait, why did he just vote for this person that very clearly lost in my mind? But then Robbie would say, oh, it's because he had much better execution of this thing.
I believe
Robbie also is
hold
the
on.
commissioner. But go ahead.
Do you see what's happening in Skype right now?
Yep.
Oh,
He's a commissioner. What?
He's the one that if you have an issue on track, you go to Robbie. So he's already been.
Is he still in that role?
I'm not sure if he's still in it.
Oh. Yeah, but he was Commissioner Gordon. You were saying you would come to him and you would voice your complaints. That was his old role. That was one of the questions we didn't get to ask. But to see if someone was replacing his old role. Yeah,
Well.
he's oh, there he is in Skype. He's coming maybe.
Oh.
Robbie. Oh man, it's so slow.
What a young looking stud.
What a young gun. So right now he's looking very fierce. He's looking very strong. He's very frozen. Robbie, if you can hear us, we love you.
blink once.
And thank you so much for spending time on our show. And don't you dare fuck up this season. We're gonna be watching you, and everyone's gonna be watching you, and you're gonna have so much pressure to do well. And if you don't do well, people are going to know it. They're going to know right away that you're the problem, Robbie. So, Robbie, this is your one chance to bow out. And if you don't back out now, you'll never be able to. Just say it. Just say you don't want the job.
Say it, Robbie.
Yep. He's in. No, he's in. All right, cool.
Cool.
All right, boys.
Well, Sam,
Boys,
have fun in Spain again.
Thank you, boys. I I hope we do a good old show. We've been talking to Kevin Wells. I do want to do an FD rules update with old K. Well, and we'll hit that. But in the meantime, we have much to talk about still going into the new season of FD. Many non-FD things that we need to discuss. We're going to have a Grid Life Drift draft coming up here very soon. Very soon. Stay tuned. Later this month, even some might say, where we will kind of announce who's going to be driving at Grid Life and call some of them and have a good time.
Well, with that being said, let's thank our Patreons. Also,
Yeah. Shout out
'Cause,
to Paige.
thanks Patreons for it's your support that you are the reason why we're here. With your support,
No,
we can afford
I'm here
this
for the
very
chicks.
high level show without a single technical issues.
No hiccups, buds.
Yeah, and also
good.
thanks to Grid Life. Thanks to Grid Life.
Yep.
For sustaining us our bad habits of
Also,
yeah.
I want to thank Paco's internet provider and PC builder.
Yeah, Paco, what is up with your computer?
I think it's a major overhauling. It's about the time.
You have too many hentais?
No, that computer is strictly for the podcast. Don't touch it. Don't do anything with it.
Well, you're looking at hentais while we're on the show.
No, but maybe Brian. But
Brian, no more hentai on the show, please.
please.
Okay.
Brian, thank you. All right, guys, enjoy your hentais at home. We're going to be very dialed next week because I won't be here. And that's it.
All right.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you, Corey. Thanks, Brian.
Awesome, boys. Yeah, see you
Have
guys.
a good night. See you next week.
Tuesday or Wednesday or
And-
Thursday or Friday. Follow Corey on Twitch. He's full